Oh, we're good to start with the first one, I believe. Number 32.
All right. Yeah, just call it out after each. If you call it out after each case, then we can just move through it that way. All right. Case number 32, CEB 11-17138, Coalition Against Hunger. Please come forward.
Wallace Thurston. I'm with the Coalition Against Hunger. The address is Post Office Box 4132, Enterprise, Florida, 32725.
And how are you
I'm on the board.
on the board? And you have permission to speak for the board?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry,
Thank
sir,
you very much.
Could you state your last name again?
Thurston, Thurston.
Can you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
All right. We will. This is just for compliance or non-compliance. Mr. Jackson, we'll hear from him.
Madam Chair, members of the board, as indicated, this is before you for determination of compliance or non-compliance. The inspector reports that this is really the first time he's seen anyone or heard from anyone regarding the case. It remains in non-compliance. He's asking for next cutoff for it to come into compliance. And the inspector is Jerry Sanders, if you have any questions.
Okay. Any question for Mr. Sanders? All right, Mr. Thurston, what would you like to say?
There was a period of time prior to August that there was a company hired to be taking care of the outside of this property and billing us for it, and they weren't doing their job. So the weeds got up to 3 or 4 feet tall. It was way overgrown. I hired Volusia Landscaping, and their last visit there was October 27th of this year. They're doing the lawn. They trimmed the shrubs. They're cleaning up around the property, and there was some rotten wood on the step next to steps by the garage. They've been removed, and the picture looks like on the porch. There's items on a back porch that's screened in, and it was latched, so that's still there. But they did remove a lot of junk from the backyard also.
Jerry, you been doing checks since all this has been done?
Did an inspection the day before yesterday. The property still stands the way it is, except for the grass. The grass was cut. The property's not secure. There's a downstairs door that everybody keeps getting in, and I have Officer Desmer, and we've tried to keep the people out of this property, but they still keep going in.
Okay.
The boat's still in the back, junk's still in the backyard. The garage is not secure. The property's a mess. The back fence has also not been taken care of.
Excuse
Okay.
me, sir. Is this a business property, or is
No,
this
it's not.
what is this property used for?
Once we acquired the property, we've been working on coming up with a use for the property. It was the mayor's home in 1928, and it's the Armstrong property on Arlington Avenue, and we're deciding what to do with it, and hopefully we're going to make it a historic property.
Okay.
No. Okay. But you agree that a lot of these violations.
Yes.
Okay.
We're
All
trying
right.
to work on them to
All right.
get it correct.
Okay. The chair will entertain a motion to find respondent in noncompliance in order the respondent to come into compliance by the next cutoff date, December 6, 2017, or be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion. Mrs. Himes, do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Harrington. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. So
I just wanted
speak to
ask
your,
for a
please.
30-day extension only because I won't be here in December.
Yeah, well, we need to get this taken care of since you're not doing the work. You can speak to your, to Mr. Sanders, and he can tell you what needs to be done by the next meeting. Okay, case number CEB 1117
Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Number 34.
Case number 34. CEB 11-17-141 Beach Photo Service at 604 Main Street. Respondent present. Please come forward. Hi, good morning. State your name and address for the record.
Louise Robertson, 604 Main Street, Daytona Beach, Florida.
And what is your relation to Beach Photo?
The owner.
Okay, good.
Can you raise your right hand, please, ma'am? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll hear from our code officer first. or actually if Mr. Jackson first.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for determination of compliance or non-compliance. The inspector reports, the inspector's Jerry Sanderson, reports he's had no contact with anyone on this case as well. This would be the first time he's seen someone, and the property remains in non-compliance. He's asking for next call for it to come into compliance.
Okay.
Attend to Mr. Sanders.
All right. Any questions for?
When you say you've had no contact, have you been inside the store?
There was contact yesterday.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I gave the owner, or the representative, I didn't speak with this lady here, I spoke with, I guess his name is Mark.
Mark Robinson?
Yes, I gave him my email address, and he kept asking for the continuance and not to be here, and I gave him an email address to, give me the excuse why, and they never emailed me. So,
Okay.
and now we're here.
All right. Mrs. Robertson, what would you like to say? Is the sign broken?
It is.
Okay.
And we had extensive damage during the hurricane, so
Mm-hmm.
most of my resources, all of my resources went to that to fix the store because the entire inside was blown away. And, I had to fix it or close the store and get rid of all,
That was
lay off
from
all my employees.
Matthew. You're talking about Matthew, who was the storm?
The first one,
Yeah.
And then, but I did get a permit, and I have gotten references from the sign companies. So I'm just have to wait on the board of Main Street Board, redevelopment board to approve it.
Okay.
And then we can
When
fit-
they meet, they'll meet that board?
I'm sorry?
When will that board meet?
I think they only meet once every 6 weeks.
So maybe we need to get it to January.
No, they meet once a month.
But to approve
Right.
things, I don't
Well-
think they need to approve it.
And what,
once
are
a
you
month.
saying Matthew or Irma?
No, it was Matthew because Irma.
It was Matthew, and then Irma came through, and we had extensive damage.
All right. So the sign's been broken since Matthew.
Well, it cracked
Okay. Well,
during Matthew, and then over the summer, it broke.
Fell out.
so do you have a permit for a new sign?
Yeah, I've applied for one.
You've applied for a permit for a new sign, and
And I have the.
and you have a contractor to do that? Okay. All right.
So I just need time to get through the redevelopment board.
Okay, and that meeting should be,
Had one last night.
they had one last night,
So maybe next month, till January goes.
so January. Okay. All right. So hopefully, do you, Mr., let me talk to Mr. Sanders now, thank you. Mr. Sanders, do you know anything about all of this?
All of the board meetings.
Yeah, the board meetings, the permits, the,
This is the first time the permits were brought to my attention. And to note, the case was started in January of this year
mm-hmm,
and passed to me in May because I had switched areas.
What's your position on it? Obviously, she came to a December 6th cutoff when they already had a meeting last night. What's your city's position on that?
My position is, if the board will allow, go to January, let her get her approval so we
Okay.
can get it fixed.
all right, that makes
And
sense.
If it's fixed, then I'm happy with that.
Okay. All right, I think, any other questions?
I'm familiar with the sign. Matter of fact, I was just down there walking around yesterday, and I know they have been doing something about it. And I was at the meeting last night on the redevelopment board, and nothing was brought up.
Okay. All right, the chair will entertain a motion to find respondent in noncompliance and order respondent to come into compliance by the January 3rd, 2018 cutoff date, or be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Is there such a motion?
So move.
Motion, Mr. Weatherholt, second, Mrs. House. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Okay, thank you. All right,
35.
did that. 35. Case number CEB 11-17-142, Nell 4 LLC. State your name and address for the record.
Eric Spivey, 506 North Hudson Street, Orlando, 32835.
And what is your relationship to Nell 4?
I'm the registered agent for the company.
Okay. All right, please be sworn in.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay.
Excuse me. Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for determination of compliance or non-compliance. The inspector is Jerome McCoy. Mr. McCoy reports that the property remains in non-compliance, that this was complaint-driven, and up to this point he's had contact with, he's only had contact with a property manager, but he's asking for next cutoff for the property to come into compliance. Now,
Okay.
tend to Mr. McCoy if you have any questions of him.
Okay, so this is rental property, Mr. McCoy?
Yes, it
Are there
is.
people living in the structure?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And there is no rental license or BTR?
Correct.
And, go ahead.
They have applied for it. However, they have to
Okay.
meet the rental
Yep.
requirement.
And the notification, they were first notified in June?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Sir,
All right, we'll hear from Mr. Spivey.
how
now.
long have you been the registered agent?
Been the registered agent for the company for about 2.5 years.
What is a resident? What is your position?
I'm the
Let me-
registered agent. I received notices for the company.
Okay.
And the owner is at a conference in South Florida, so I met with the code inspector yesterday and his supervisor.
Okay. Do you represent
Yes,
the
I do
company
represent them, and I'm
to see
authorized-
that they're in compliance?
Yeah, that's my goal. I'm authorized to.
So you're aware that we have business licenses
I am aware now.
and
yes,
have
we
had
applied
since,
for it,
and
yes.
since you were told in June.
Yes, and we have applied for it. Yes, sir.
Okay. We
Okay.
seem to be having a problem with that.
Right, and I just have a few brief notes. I know
Okay,
we're
go
close
ahead.
to cutoff time, but
Okay.
Progress is being made. The pictures, that rotted wooden staircase was removed. I met with the code inspector McCoy at the home yesterday and his supervisor. Just very briefly, lots of things were addressed. A few other minor things do need to be addressed. One of the, I would think, serious violations was the lack of smoke detectors. Those were installed a month ago. The code inspector asked the tenant about it yesterday because he noticed it was open, and the tenant admitted to disabling the smoke detector and removing the battery. And that was with them yesterday. So we're doing our best to fix the code violations, but if the tenant, and that's not just me, they were there yesterday, he's admitted to disabling it. So we'll enable it again and hope that he doesn't disable it. He recommended that we look at some flooring yesterday, and that's the first time we've heard of that, so we're looking at that as well. It was in June. Early on in this case, it was tenant initiated, but in my opinion, for this case, he was playing a game where he would allow inspectors some access and not us. It happened again to us yesterday afternoon after my meeting with them, whenever we had a repair person there. So we're exploring the avenue in the court system. In July, we had to take him to court to provide access to the city inspectors and to us. And today I'm posting another notice of noncompliance due to him disabling the smoke detector, creating another code violation, and also denying us access. So I would request 60 to 90 days to because this process is going to take some time if we continue to get delays and repeat violations from tenant-caused actions.
All right, anybody have any questions? Can I see the pictures again, please, of the violations?
Now, that's a current picture.
That was a current picture. That is where
Yeah,
the
I
code
see that.
inspector asked him about it, and he told him he disabled it.
What's the city's position?
That's the rear door. That's a current picture. The rear door was installed. That was fixed yesterday. He did allow access to the hallway area.
Okay, thank you.
May I ask?
Oh, go ahead.
Who's doing the work?
We're getting a contractor to look at the floor as they requested and to look at the staircase, which they pointed out to us yesterday might be missing some support structures. A maintenance person painted some items that they said needed to be painted yesterday, and did. Another issue was the inside frame is molding around a couple of interior doors where they meet. I guess the angle wasn't perfectly flush. It overhung by about a half an inch, so a maintenance person did that. But we're going to try to get a licensed contractor to look at the floor and the new staircase as they have requested.
Because that is structural, and it has to be a licensed contractor. in order
Yes,
to
sir.
do it.
Yeah, and he
Yes,
pointed
sir.
it out yesterday, and I will start that process immediately. Again, just pointing out that the reason I'm requesting the additional time is due to some access. He did allow us access, but not to a specific room.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Thank you. I'm inclined to give them until the January cutoff date since they are making some progress. Is anyone else, is that amenable to people, or do you want to just go right ahead and see what happens next time?
I'd like to ask the inspector.
All right.
What they,
Okay.
Yes.
what time, from what you've seen, what time is yesterday?
From what I've seen, I think it can be met by the next cutoff.
Okay.
Extended time is not my recommendation.
Okay. All right. That's fine. All right. The chair will entertain a motion to find respondent in noncompliance in order the respondent to come into compliance by the next cutoff date or be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion, Mrs. Himes. Second, Mr. Weatherholtz. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries.
Do we need a motion for the business tax?
Yes, I'm in that too.
Is that included in your motion, business tax?
I think
Yes.
it's all included in the motion, isn't it?
No.
To
This wasn't a
come
fine,
into
this was-
compliance.
Yeah.
It's coming
Okay.
to come into compliance, so,
Yeah.
yeah. All right, what's the next case, please?
36.
Case 36, CEB 11-17-143, Resource Properties. Please come forward and be sworn in. Good morning.
Good morning.
Can you state your name, please?
Charlene Hartley.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
It is.
Thank you.
Ms. Hartley, what is your relationship to Resource Properties?
I've been the owner of Resource Properties for a long
Okay.
time.
All right. Thank you. All right, let us hear from Mr. Jackson and Mr. McCoy, and then we'll give you a chance to speak if you need to.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for determination of compliance or noncompliance. The Inspector, Mr. Jerome McCoy. Mr. McCoy reports that the property remains in noncompliance. This is complaint driven, and he's asking for next cutoff for the property to come into compliance.
Okay.
I attend to Mr. McCoy.
Mr. McCoy, is the property occupied?
Right now it is, yes.
Okay.
When the complaint originally came in, it came from another tenant.
Okay.
It's a new tenant.
How many units, or is it
It's
just
a single family.
single family? Okay. All right. Any questions for Mr. McCoy right now? All right, Ms. Hartley, what would you like to tell us? Are these things getting worked on?
Yes, Madam Chairman,
Okay.
they are.
Okay.
I had a very difficult eviction.
Mr. McCoy?
was-
Mhm.
Yes, and it took me quite some time to get them
Mhm.
out. And, after I got them out, I did, do new carpet, new paint, all of that.
Mhm.
And I did obtain a new tenant. Unfortunately, I personally am very busy. I have 2 assisted living facilities for mentally ill adults and rental properties, so I became overwhelmed with the eviction and whatnot. I am a good landlord. I do take care of my properties. So I should certainly be able to put this in compliance within the next cutoff date.
Okay,
Could you
terrific.
tell me why, I'm on a crusade today evidently, why you were unaware that we have a business tax and a
Well,
rental
actually,
license?
I had a business, yes, sir. I have business tax. I didn't realize because they sent them to me that this one wasn't paid. I went down and talked to Suzette yesterday, well, the lady that's in the front office now, and I just hadn't been paid for a couple years, so they brought that up to current. And as far as, you know, them coming on to mainland and doing the new tax, you know, I've been working on getting those properties
Okay.
that are on mainland now in compliance.
Okay.
You applied for the rental license?
Yes, I have, actually. I went yesterday, I brought it all up to current, and I have applied for the rental license.
Okay.
Yes, I have.
Any other comments? Okay, the chair will entertain a motion to find respondent in noncompliance and or the respondent come into compliance by the next cutoff date, December 6, 2017, or be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Such a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Harrington made the
Second.
motion. Second, Mr. Weatherholtz. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
37.
All right, case number 37, CEB 11-17-144, Troy Horwadell. And I probably said that wrong, too. Good morning.
It's Horwittle. I'm Travis, Troy's brother.
Okay. You're Travis, okay. How do you say it?
Horwittle.
You raise your
Okay,
right hand,
thank
please,
you.
sir. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Jackson.
Madam Chair, members to the board, this is before you for a determination of compliance or non-compliance. The inspector is Jerome McCoy. Mr. McCoy reports that this property remains in non-compliance. His best information is unoccupied property that came to him complaint-driven. One of the issues, windows were nailed shut. It's issues of concern. However, he believes that it can be brought into compliance by next cutoff, and he asked that you find it in non-compliance and give till next cutoff for the people to come into compliance.
Okay.
And I attend to Mr. McCoy.
Anybody have any questions for Mr. McCoy? So this is an occupied building, single family?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
It's unoccupied.
Unoccupied.
Yes.
Okay. And it's a single family home?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. I guess no questions for you. Mr. Horwittle. What would you like to tell us?
Basically, just need some time to get contractors to put windows in because they're going to be custom ordered. All the other stuff I can take care of.
Okay.
I did have one more thing.
Go ahead.
Because of the nature of the violations, we do ask that the property remain in vacant until it's brought into compliance.
Okay. That will be part of the motion?
Yeah, we would like that to be part of it.
Okay. Okay. Any questions for anybody from the board? All right, the chair will entertain a motion to find respondent in noncompliance in order the respondent to come into compliance by November 9th, 2017, or be returned to the board for consideration of
December 6th.
December 6th, 2017. All right, I'm going to start that over. The chair will entertain a motion to find respondent in noncompliance and order the respondent to come into compliance by the next cutoff date, December 6, 2017, or be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day, and further orders that the home remain vacant until the case is closed and back into compliance. Such a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Mrs. Howe, second. Mrs. Himes, all in favor say aye. Aye. Like sign opposed. Motion carries. Thank you. Okay. Ms. Hampton, what's next?
39.
Okay, case number 39. Okay, so that was the one that we got, okay.
Correct.
That's not in compliance, okay. Case number CEB 11-17-146, Rose D. Irons. Okay. Good morning. Good.
Can you state your name, please, ma'am? Rose D. Irons. Can you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Jackson.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for determination of compliance or noncompliance. The inspector is Jerome McCoy. Mr. McCoy reports that this property remains in noncompliance and is asking for next cutoff for it to come into compliance. And I turn to Mr. McCoy.
Okay. Same question, Mr. McCoy, as before. Does someone live in that building?
No, there's no one living.
No, it's vacant. Okay. Okay.
You're talking about the concrete or block building?
Yes, the one on the left. the structure.
Yeah. That's the garage, correct? Okay. Yeah. Oh, okay. Is the house... All right, so all we're talking about is the garage here. Okay.
Well, with the structural damage.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
But included is the protective treatment.
Okay. All right.
So they're putting it back into a garage.
Pardon me?
No one. That was my mistake. I didn't realize we were just talking about the garage.
Oh, okay.
So that was my mistake.
Okay.
So nobody's probably living in the garage, hopefully. Okay. All right. And your recommendation then is next cutoff.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Would you like to tell us anything?
That bottom piece was blown off during the first hurricane. And in the middle of that, we got the letter. And then the tree fell on it from the second hurricane. And I was trying to contact Mr. Jerome McCoy, and he was on vacation. And there wasn't clarity as to exactly what we needed to do to rectify. So we did get it going and rolling.
Okay, good. Thank you for that. Any questions? The chair will entertain a motion to find respondent in noncompliance and or the respondent come into compliance by December 6, 2017, or be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion, Mrs. Himes. Second, Mrs. House. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. Thank you. Okay.
40.
Case number 40, CEB 11-17-147. The 456 North Martin Luther King Land Trust. Respondent present. Please come forward, state your name and address for the record, and be sworn in.
David Spearman, 2 Highwood Ridge Trail, Ormond Beach. Requested to speak on behalf of the trust.
What is your relationship to the...
Volunteer help to answer this.
Can you raise your right hand?
yeah, you better be sworn
Do
in
you
before
solemnly
I ask
swear or
questions.
affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, Mr. Jackson.
If I can just inquire a little further, if I may.
Okay.
Sir, if you come back up just for one moment. You're authorized to speak on behalf of the trust?
Yes.
Okay, so someone's giving you that authority?
Yes.
Okay, just wanted to make sure I understood.
Right, okay. Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for determination of compliance or noncompliance. The inspector is Jerome McCoy. Mr. McCoy reports that the property is in noncompliance, and he reports that it's occupied property, and that he's had some contact with, I don't know if it was with this gentleman or someone, but he's had some prior contact, but he believes that this can be in compliance by next cutoff.
Okay.
And I would tender Mr. McCoy.
All right. Thank you. Any questions for Mr. McCoy? All right. So it is occupied.
No.
Wait. Well, we'll let you talk in a minute. Is it occupied now?
To my knowledge, it's not occupied.
Not occupied now. Okay.
And you
But it
feel
was-
that this can be brought up into compliance by the next cutoff date?
I haven't had any contact, as far as with, after they've been notified. I haven't really got a chance to speak with the representative.
Okay.
So what you're saying that you don't know that it can be in
I don't know.
compliance?
A little incentive. All right. What did you say your name was, sir? I'm sorry. Last name?
Mr.
Spear?
Spearin, S-P-E-A-R-I-N.
All right, Mr. Spear, and what would you like to say?
I'd like to say it is in compliance, been in compliance. Property was conveyed on 7/25 July. And the property is vacant. And the violations that are here in this have been brought over from apparently another case to the former owner. But from the trust point of view, it is in compliance. We've never rented it. It is not rental property. It'll never
Okay,
be
I
rental
understand that it is not being rented right now.
property. Not rental property, never will be.
Well, okay,
Wasn't
that's
when we purchased it. We've
Okay.
never offered it for rent and will not offer it for rent.
The pictures that were just shown, are those current? The pictures, those pictures. Does it look like that now?
I'm here to answer the violations.
Yeah.
Those are
Can't
pictures
state
of
to
the
state.
violations.
I can't state to the condition of the property at this time, inside.
Okay.
It's of no bearing. The purchase, the property conveyed, sold, as is. That's our state.
When did you purchase it?
7/25.
And what's the intent?
Well, the trust normally, they got three options. They'll give it to a church, they'll give it to a needy family, they'll both those. Just affordable housing for the poor in the future.
You received
Give it to a family.
You received notice on the exact day that you purchased the property?
Absolutely not.
Well,
This
when did you
first
receive
notice,
it?
first notice was October 26th.
Okay.
I believe Ms. Sheffield was notified October or July 27th.
Okay. And who was that?
The
Sheffield.
former owner.
Do we have record of the house being sold?
Yes, it's in public record.
Well, we'll find it. We're looking for fact. Okay.
Madam Chair, I believe the inspector had knowledge of that, and we can speak to that.
Okay, terrific.
Did he have knowledge of it, whether there was a prior owner that was
Yes,
sold?
yes, it was so. The original owner was contacted, and the property was also posted. The new owner, when he purchased the property, he was aware of the violations that was already on the property. But as far as
And what made you tell he was aware of the violation?
because the new owner, when I went around to check on the property, the new owners, the old owner, I'm sorry, she stays right next door to this property, and she called him on the phone, and they was conversing, and I said, can he get in contact with me? But at this time, he said the inspector can do whatever he wants. So I said, okay, so I just moved forward with the case.
Did you subsequently notice the new owner?
Via postal.
And, okay, so you posted the property
Yes.
subsequently, and when was that?
Well, I sent a notice of violation to the old owner, and after that, then I went out and posted the property.
So it was posted when the new owner took possession of it.
That's correct.
Wait, just 1 second, please. Okay. Now you may come up, sir. So are you contending that none of these violations are there, that these are just, these pictures aren't pictures of what exists now?
Do I need to? Do I need to contend? All I can ask is, I'm in compliance at purchase.
Well, I don't...
There's no notice, there's no violations, there's nothing yet of record. When was Ms. Sheffield notified?
Ms. Sheffield was notified on, it says here, first notified 7/25/2017.
Now, was that sent out to be mailed?
Wait, excuse me. I'm going to ask you questions.
Okay.
When did you, what was the date of the closing of the house?
The closing, I'm not certain.
Oh,
But
great.
it was
Okay, well,
later-
that's not
it was
helpful
later than
either.
that, because there were mortgages and there were out-of-town other owners and
Okay.
a lot of
All right.
Why do you think it was in compliance when you bought it?
Well, there were no violations to our knowledge.
To your knowledge, but that
There were none posted to our knowledge.
Right. All right. All right. I'm going to move on with this case. You obviously know there are violations now. We can see them.
Well, but
Excuse me.
with Ms. Sheffield, apparently.
No.
What it as is.
One last question, sir. Is there title insurance on this property?
I would say probably not.
It's a quick claim deed.
Yeah.
Probably not.
Probably
Okay.
not.
So no search was done?
Right.
All right. Okay.
But title company closed. Proper closed.
Title
Lot
company
of-
closed and they didn't find any outstanding?
Well,
We did. We had mortgages and had some.
there wouldn't be any because there was no fine put on it, so the title company wouldn't see that.
Excuse me, Jerome, you have something to say on that?
I just want to add, no one, no owner or the new owner have called me in to do a reinspection.
Okay. Okay. All right. The chair will entertain a motion to find respondent in noncompliance and order the respondent to come into compliance by the next cutoff date, December 6, 2017, or be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Is there such a motion? Motion, Mr. Weatherholt, second. Mrs. Himes, all in favor say aye. Aye. Like sign opposed. Thank you. Next case, please. No, we're done with the case. Please you can speak to Mr. McCoy to find out. The case is over for the time being. You will be back here next month to respond.
Why do I have to
Excuse
bring
me.
into compliance a rental
Excuse me.
license
You
on my
can
property?
ask Mr. McCoy your questions. Thank you. Case number 41, CEB 11-17-148, James Chester Jones and Barbara Jones and My Way Cafe. My Way Cafe is what I'm guessing. Okay.
Good morning. My name is Anthony Brockington.
Solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, what is your relationship to the Joneses in My Way?
We're the tenant. I'm not in the cafe. We're my
Oh, okay.
Do you have a business on that?
Yes. Well,
And you have permission to speak
Yes.
on their behalf, okay? All right, Mr. Jackson.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for determination of compliance or non-compliance. The inspector is Jerome McCoy. The inspector reports that the property remains in non-compliance, and he's asking to give until next cutoff for the property to be brought into compliance. And I turn to Mr. McCoy.
Okay. Well, is there anything you'd like to say? Have you had contact with these people before today?
Yes, I have.
Okay. They were notified in August,
Yes, ma'am.
and nothing's changed?
Well, from the last time I've been, most of the trucks are gone.
Okay.
It's a zoning issue with that zone don't permit rentals of heavy equipment. And at this time, it's only like a little trailer there, so I'll let the
Okay.
next cutoff will be fine.
Yep.
speak to it.
Yeah, all right. Do you have something to tell us?
well, basically, when we started renting, I was in August.
Uh-huh.
And upon, I guess when we were notified on the 30th, we started, well, I contacted my U-Haul field manager that we have, and he gave me a date to come pick up the trucks initially, then, the hurricane came.
Yes, it did.
So that he had to go down south for like 2-3 weeks. They had to go down there and move trucks around and stuff like that. So we initially, he gave me another date, but then he never came. So what I did was, I have a car lot also, so we just shifted the business to the car lot. And the only thing I have now is, like he said, a little bar.
Okay. Okay. So that's good. All right. That's fine. All right. The chair will entertain a motion to find respondent in non-compliance or respondent come into compliance by the next cutoff date, December 6, 2017, or be returned to the board for consideration of fine of up to $1,000 per day. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Mrs. Heim, second, Mr. Weatherholtz. All in favor say aye. Like sign opposed. All right. That's in that case. So the next case, 42, is CEB 1117149 Osip Madeja. Boy, I'm sure I screwed that up, right?
Madeja.
Madeja. Okay.
Can you state your name, please, sir?
My name is Roman Medea, and I live at 130 South Peninsula Drive, and it's my father.
Can you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Okay. We'll let them speak first.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for determination of compliance or non-compliance. The inspector is Jerome McCoy. Mr. McCoy reports that the property is still currently in non-compliance, and he is asking for next cutoff for the property to come into compliance. I turn to Mr. McCoy.
Okay.
That's basically it. The
Okay.
accessory structure defense. It just hasn't been addressed.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Mr. Madeja.
Hey, the reason it hasn't been addressed is somebody ran into the fence, and the insurance company's going around and around. I don't know what to do. I'll fix it myself. I don't care.
Okay.
That's all.
All right. Chair, will, any questions? Chair will entertain a motion to find respondent in noncompliance and respondent to commit to compliance by the next cutoff date, will be returned, which is December 6, 2017, or be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Mrs. Himes, second.
Second.
Second, Mr. Weatherholtz. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. All right. Where are we now?
46.
Okay. Case 46. CEB 11-17-153, Glenn Jones. Mr. Jones, come forward. Good morning.
Glenn Jones, 321 Cornell Drive.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Yes.
Okay, we'll let you speak in a minute, sir, if you need to. All right, Mr. Jackson.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for determination of compliance or noncompliance. The inspector is Mark Jones. Mr. Jones reports that the property remains in noncompliance, and he's asking for next cutoff for the property to come into compliance.
Okay.
And I will attend to Mr. Jones.
Okay. Mr. Jones, let me ask you a question. Is this property occupied?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Is it a rental or?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. All right. Anybody have any other questions for Mr. Jones? All right, Mr.
Jones.
Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones, Mr. Jones. What would you like to tell us? You going to fix these things?
I fixed everything but the screen up top.
Okay.
And I did get the, I don't have my glasses.
That's the tax receipt?
The rental administration fees, I paid for those this week.
Okay, cool. Good. All right, the chair will entertain a motion to find respondent in noncompliance and order the respondent to come into compliance by the next cutoff date, December 6, 2017, or be returned to the board for consideration. Good morning again.
Hello.
State your name and address for the record.
Eric Spivey, 506 North Hudson Street, Orlando, Florida, 32835.
Okay.
Noted for the record, he's been previously sworn. Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for the determination of compliance or non-compliance. The inspector is Mark Jones. Mr. Jones reports that the property remains in non-compliance, and he's asking for next cutoff for it to be brought into compliance. He indicates he hadn't had any contact with the owner up to this point. And I attend to Mr. Jones.
Okay.
I did have contact with the owner yesterday. They have replaced the damaged siding. When I saw it, it hadn't been painted yet.
Okay.
But they say that's done. They applied for their rental license on Monday.
Okay.
So we still have to go through the rental inspection, so it hasn't been issued.
Okay.
Was any permit applied for the siding?
No, they replaced 6 or 8 pieces of siding. I don't know if it's if a permit's required.
No, don't think it is. Okay. Well, we don't know, but that's fine. It's not on here.
That picture of the fence, is that, it's not included in this?
The fence has been removed.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Would you like to tell us anything, or are we there?
I have nothing to further
Okay.
that. The last step is I'm going to do the inspection with Inspector Jones
Good.
as soon as possible.
Okay. Chair will entertain a motion to find respondent in noncompliance or respondent come into compliance by December 6, 2017, or be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Mrs. House. Second, Mrs. Hines. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. 49, CB 11-17-157, Prime Income Properties. She's coming forward. He's coming forward. Hi. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Joseph W. Steger Jr.
What was your last name, sir?
Steger. Yes.
Can you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Mr. Steger, what is your relationship to Prime Income Properties?
I was just a month-to-month renter. I originally moved in there a year and a half ago. And
You don't own it. You're just a renter.
You don't.
Yes, I rented month to month.
Do you have permission from Prime Income Properties to represent them? Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Come forward and be sworn in. Thank you. We'll hear from you. Go ahead.
My name is Brenda Jacobs. I am the property manager for Prime Income Properties.
Okay.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay. All right. We'll hear from Mr. Jackson first and from Mr. Jones.
Yes, Madam Chair, members of the board, this is for compliance or non-compliance. Mark Jones is the inspector. He's recommending next cutoff for the property be brought into compliance. I tender Mr. Jones.
Okay.
This case was opened in August with leaky roof and pest infestation. As of yesterday, they have put a new roof on the mobile home.
Okay.
I do not have photographs. That's as it was with the tarp. And they have sprayed it, or at least they've showed me invoice for having an exterminator there. They're still working on the interior ceiling that was sagging, so I'd like to hold it in non-compliance until the next cutoff.
Okay. Again, the issue, did they pull a permit when they put the new roof on?
I did not see any notice that there was a permit pulled.
Well, that's not on our case right now, but it's.
But it does, even though that it's not on it. You know, it has to be addressed.
Does need to be addressed.
When she comes back next month, she needs to have it addressed.
Yeah. But that's up to the code enforcement officers too.
And as I said, we were notified. I mean, it was just
Right.
yesterday.
Okay.
In fact, I saw it this morning.
All right. Is there anything either one of you would like to tell us? Would you like to speak, or are you okay that we'll give you till next month to get this fixed? Does that? Do you have anything?
Compliance, we'll give it another month.
I would like to speak.
Okay, go ahead.
I served the park representative, Ms. Jacobs, a letter on August 24th. The notice says withhold rent. It was under the Florida Residential Landlord Tenant Act, Chapter 83.56, the right to withhold rent until repairs were made. I did report to her, and I have a text that came from the ex-park maintenance man that she knew that the roof was leaking on July 18th.
Okay. Now, I appreciate your predicament. And what we're going to do is find her non-compliance, and when she comes back next month, it'll either be fixed or it won't be fixed. And if it's not fixed, you'll be fine. And your case is separate from what our case is, or from what we hear.
Okay.
But, okay?
Okay, the only other thing I have is, like I said, I served her this letter on the 24th. On the 25th, I was served with the 7-day notice of vacate.
Okay. Okay. I'm
So
sorry.
I'm living
Yeah,
in-
that's
I'm living in
between the
Motel
two
right
of,
now.
yeah, okay. All right, thank you. All right. Chair will entertain a motion to find respondent not, oh, I'm sorry,
Yes.
did you want to say something, please?
I'll be brief.
Okay.
I just want to let you know that the mobile home is vacant. He is no longer a resident with us.
Okay, that's fine.
So
Okay.
I just want to let you know he is not living on the property anymore.
Okay.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
The chair will entertain a motion to find respondent in noncompliance and order the respondent to come into compliance by December 6, 2017, or be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Is there such a motion? Motion, Mrs. Himes. Second, Mrs.
Second.
House?
Yeah.
All in favor say aye. Like sign opposed. Motion carries. Next case. Case 50, CEB 11-17-158.
Can we hold up on him and do the other ladies first? Because we're not going to be able to get to him.
What?
Can we just get the other two people first and him? Because he's going to want, he's obviously going to want to contest it. Obviously, we're not going to be able to get to him today. No, I'm saying I want to get those two first.
Well, she's staff, it's just the young lady.
Okay, the one lady's back then. No, to give him, get to him, I want to give him time.
She's 54, I think.
All right.
Yeah, I think he wants to give you a couple extra minutes.
Okay.
Why is that?
So we're doing
54.
All right. So we'll do case 54 right now. CEB 11-17-162, Lillian Voros. I keep looking at those pictures.
Lillian Boros. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you will provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you. We'll hear from Mr. Jackson and Mr. Jones.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for compliance or non-compliance. Mr. Jones, Mark Jones, is the inspector. In the case, Mr. Jones reports that the junk vehicle has been removed. The issue is still the parking. It's in need of a reinspection. He's asking for you to make a finding of non-compliance and allow till next cutoff for the property to be brought into compliance.
Okay.
Attended, Mr. Jones.
Anybody have any questions? We'll give you till next month. And do you have something you need to say?
What does compliance mean?
That means you fix the problem.
Okay.
That's a good thing.
Come up to the.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, I mean it gives you a month to fix the problem, basically.
Okay. There's the property next door. Well, the lot next door is, well, all right. Our driveway. There's 3 vehicles there. There will be 3 vehicles parking there. If my son parks his car in the parking lot.
Wait a minute.
Oh.
Yeah, I'll get it marked.
Yeah, you can ask Mr. Jones those questions.
Okay.
And he can help you determine how to best fix those. Okay?
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. All right. The chair will entertain a motion to find respondent in non-compliance and or the respondent to come into compliance by December 6, 2017, or be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Such a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Mrs. Himes. Second?
Second.
Second. Okay. Mr. Weatherholtz, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Okay, I'm getting tired now. Okay.
The reason I asked him to move from then is because I don't know if he's going to argue that.
Motion carries. What?
I want to give him opportunity enough time. Sir, come on up. I don't
What-
know if you brought
what
those lovely
cases?
pictures. You brought those lovely pictures.
What case is this? 50. All right. This is 1117-158 AF 126 South Oleander Residential Trust.
Yes.
Okay? All right. Now, state your name and address for the record, please.
Fabrice Pluto, 126 South Oleander. Fabric, Pluto, Clouteau. It's on record.
CLOU what?
TEAU.
Clouteau.
Raise your right hand, please, sir. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
And how are you related to the trust?
I'm the trustee.
Okay, you're a trustee.
Makes it simpler.
Okay. All right, we're going to hear from Mr. Jones and Mr. Jackson, and then we'll look at your pictures. Okay?
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for determination of compliance or non-compliance. As you indicated, Mr. Jones is the inspector, Mark Jones. He reports that the property remains in non-compliance. He's previously had no contact with the owner, but he had contact with the tenant at the property. But he reports that it's in non-compliance, and he believes that it can be in compliance by next cutoff. I attend to Mr. Jones for any questions.
Okay. So, is this a single family?
I do not know. I'd have to.
Okay.
It's 5 units, from what the trustee says. What our violation was for was really the maintenance of the building itself. It's in the historic district. You can see the pictures don't depict it probably as well, but there's numerous problems with molding, siding, windows. The building is in quite disrepair.
Okay. All right.
This is in a residential area, correct?
Yes, it's in the residential area.
Okay.
And I am in agreement with Mr. Jones, and I've been working on the property for a year and a half. My background...
For how long?
Since I've got it, about a year
Okay.
and a half. Okay.
Okay.
You know, as I've got these pictures, that my background is architecture.
They're beautiful.
And design.
Yeah, very nice.
And I have plans for the property, which, if you don't mind, distributing the
Okay.
plans. There's not enough
Well,
time.
you know...
How much time do you need?
And what I want to say is that I'm working toward this as a goal. And I've been working on fixing first.
Thank you.
But fixing first what has been damaged, all the damage, the mold, and the wood. And I do have a lot of pictures of that. Before, after, and a lot of it hasn't been done yet because I'm the one doing it. I don't have a lot of money, and I'm the one doing all the work, the fixing. Over here, for example, in the back.
Thank you.
So, in the back, for example, that's in the process. This has been fixed. Sorry about that. That was a year ago inside. A couple of weeks ago, somebody tenant called me and said, we have a leak. What happened? The pipe from upstairs. This is fixed already.
Okay.
Okay, that's the same. That's before. That's
Okay.
after. You know, that's I took that picture last night, by the way. The part of the complaint was the driveway. It's impossible to fix the crack. I have to change the driveway. But before I want to change the driveway, or when I will be changing the driveway, I want to bring all the overhead line,
Okay.
you know, underground,
That's good.
etc. Including the sewer, changing the sewer line. There has been some fixing. That's where also the fence that was down during the hurricane. I put it back up. It's ready to be painted.
Okay.
That has been all removed. That was downstairs in the back. It's all removed. And it's mainly the previous owner.
And have you talked to Mr. Jones about what he want to do all this? And have you met the guy, Mr. Jones?
I haven't met Mr. Jones.
Because he needs to know what he's going to do, and that's what he's, in terms of how much time we're going to give you to get all the stuff done.
Okay. All right. And I know...
He needs to be able to go in the building and inspect it and everything like that.
Okay. I did start it on cleaning up the windows. On cleaning the windows, I want to bring everything back, restore everything back.
Sure, that's great.
They're still very good windows. I did this one, the wood solid like this. It's very great. That's the way it was before. You can see before and after. That's also the one at the corner. I started working on that one, and that's when I had the emergency. That's still I have to change that stairs. Have to change
Okay.
the whole balcony.
All right. I appreciate. Yes, I appreciate that. We have in front of us some things that need to be done, and because you have tenants in this building. Yes, so we have some things that need to be done, and you need to speak to Mr. Jones and ask what needs to be done so that you can come into compliance so that these tenants can continue to live there.
Okay.
Okay, so, okay. All right, Mr. Bryant.
solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
What would you like to tell us? Good morning.
Good morning. Charles Bryant, Redevelopment Department. This particular property is located in the redevelopment area. All this work he's saying he's doing, he needs to put permits for him.
Yeah.
To do the work. If it's in a historic district, then he needs to talk to the planner that's in the planning department
Right.
that does historic preservation, because he can't just arbitrarily replace
Right.
these windows and stuff. Also, any painting that he has to do, it has to be approved by the
All right.
redevelopment department.
All right, that's
Okay.
And
Okay.
just one thing before, in the redevelopment area, does it allow multi-tenants in that building?
Evidently.
It's just for the record. I know it's not on
Yeah.
the site.
Well, that would come out when he apply for, if it's a rental, it will come out in the rental agreement. That would be reviewed by the project manager for the Main Street redevelopment area.
Mr. Bryan, what would you estimate the timeline for the red tape for all these boards is going to be? 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 5 months? Because there's no sense in us saying he has to come into compliance.
I would recommend that he does a report at the next meeting, as if he's full of permits, and to do the things that he should be doing, do an update to the board, report back here and tell me what he's done, a progress report.
Well,
Will
okay.
he make that to your board or a different CRA?
No, this is for Main Street redevelopment.
It's for Main Street.
So that's Mr. Berger.
Right.
So, well, he needs to alert Mr. Berger he's doing this, and
Well, he's got to go before the board, correct?
Well, that depends on, once he needs,
Okay.
what he needs to do is apply for the permits.
Right.
That will automatically trigger
That-
Mr. Berger,
Okay.
'cause
Okay.
he would have to review that.
Okay, so,
what I'm trying to say, it would be a lot easier at the time when it comes to us if we have somebody from that board.
That's why I said maybe January. rather
maybe
than-
Yeah,
January, okay.
Well,
Will that
in
help?
a lot of cases, the permits and everything don't necessarily have to go to the board. The
Okay.
project manager has to review
Okay.
that permit request and determine if it needs to go to the board.
Right. All right, well, does the city want to change its recommendation or from, okay.
Madam Chair, members of the board, here's, as I just was speaking with the inspector, the nature of these violations, it kind of overlaps in the sense that if he's going to make the improvements that he's indicating, that it may want to get some clarification with these various boards on what he's doing. So next cutoff to try and do all of this will probably be a little bit counterproductive
So you think about
to where he's going. But if we go till January with a progress report, know that he's indeed going and getting the applications or doing what he needs to with these boards to get the approval,
Okay.
then we can have a better idea of what can this plan manifest that he's trying to do and how that affects what we can get done right
But
now.
nevertheless, this person's owned the building for a year and a half, is that correct? Uh-huh.
What you stated, yes.
Yeah, okay. All right. Well, I'll suggest something. We'll entertain a motion to find the respondent in noncompliance and order a progress report at the next meeting and allow respondent until January 3rd, 2018 to come into compliance and return to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Is there such a motion?
So
Motion, Mrs. Himes. Is there a second?
A second.
All right, second, Mr. Weatherholtz. All in favor say aye.
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 Like sign opposed. Motion carries. All right, so we'll see you next month, sir, with a progress report, and you let us know what's been going on. Okay.
All right, members of the board, I don't know if the chairman mentioned she had to be out of here by 12. I'm going to be out of here by 12. So I don't know if is there a way we could just continue? Nobody else is here. To the next meeting? Is that going to be a problem?
I'll let my administrative assistant and the board secretary, if she has the
Yes,
chance
you
to
can
put it
stay.
together. But I'll know she'll
How many
be
cases do we have left? I know.
About 6 or
Well, I
7
think
cases.
that's fair. We can-
I don't like to proceed without our
Yeah, I
board
would-
attorney here,
I
so.
would ask that you just hold up. Nobody's here on these cases anyway.
Yes, no, that's not
move to the
a
next
problem
case.
otherwise.
Okay. And I don't think we have too many left, right?
Yeah, we have a lot left.
Huh?
We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a couple in 6 or 7.
Six
I
or
believe
seven.
our inspectors can still work with them and try and get them in compliance. before
Okay.
we-
So we'll just, I make a motion to continue these cases until the cases until the next meeting, which is on, when is that?
December 6th.
December 14th.
I'll block the entire day.
Okay. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Mrs. Himes, second.
Second.
Second, Mrs. House. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. Okay. Thank you.
Good
All
job.
right.
Why do I push you back to that?
I know, you did.
We got a lot done, though.
We did get a lot done. Okay.
I count 7.
Okay, so we did this. All right. So is there any other business that you want to discuss? I mean, that we don't need our board attorney for?
It's 8 cases, not 6.
There are still eight cases?
8 cases, not 6.
But we don't have our board attorney here. All right, good morning, everyone. The November 9th, 2017 Code Enforcement Board meeting will now come to order. Madam Secretary, may we have a roll call vote?
Yes,
A
good
roll
morning.
call.
Mr. Weatherholtz?
Here.
Mrs. House? Here. Mrs. Himes?
Here.
Mr. Harrington?
Here.
Mr. Jones?
Here.
Mrs. Kundig?
Here.
And Mr. Sino is here as well.
Okay. All right. You may notice that Mr. Smart isn't here. Mr. Smart passed away, and I'd like to just take a moment to remember him and to think about him. So just have a moment of silence, please. Thank you. All right. So let's do the minutes approval. Has everybody had a chance to read?
Yes, I'd like to.
Okay.
Just
additions or corrections?
It's neither. I would just like to refresh my memory on a couple of items in the minutes and see if everyone remember. It's on page 13. The last case on the page number 20. Does everyone remember that?
Which case on page 13?
Page 13.
Oh, wait a minute. Page 13 in the minutes, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Does everyone remember that as how? That's how I remember it.
Down
I
at
just
the
want
bottom,
to make sure
yeah.
that there's something I didn't miss, that I missed. And also on page 20, under miscellaneous business.
Now is that on the agenda or the minutes still?
No, that's on the minutes.
Okay.
Does everyone remember that as it was?
Yes.
And that's all.
Down at the bottom, miscellaneous
If no one
business.
has any corrections to that, that's all I'm.
No,
because that's
I don't
exactly
have any.
as I remember it.
Okay. Me too. Okay. Anybody have a comment about that? All right. So, motion to approve minutes.
Second.
All right. Motion, Mrs. Himes. Second, Mr. Harrington. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. All right. Does anyone need to disclose any ex parte communications? Do we have any announcements, Madam Secretary?
Yes, Madam Chair. We do have a couple of cases that are in compliance that are not reflected on the agenda.
Okay.
And there's several that are in compliance. Would you like
Okay.
just for me to go ahead and
Sure.
read all of them?
Yes,
or-
please.
Okay. On page 2, case number 2, CEB 081792 for 220 South Wild Olive Avenue is compliance November 2nd. Case number 3, CEB 051744 for 714 East International Speedway Boulevard, compliance October 26th. On page 3, number 8, case number CEB 0917-102 for 801 North Grandview is compliance November 8th. Number 9, case number CEB 0917-106 507 Fifth Avenue, compliance October 27th. And we're going to skip to page 5. Case number 18, CEB 0917-121 for 605 Willie Drive, compliance October 10th. Number 21 on page 6, case number CEB 0917-105 for 1054 Sheridan Road, compliance November 1st. Number 23, CEB 10-17-126 for 1062 Madison Avenue, compliance October 31st. Page number 7. Number 26, case number CEB 1017132 for 614 East International Speedway Boulevard, compliance November 2nd. Number 27, case number CEB 10-17-133, 120 Madison Avenue, compliance October 31st. And on page 10, number 39, CEB 11-17-146 for 879 Magnolia Avenue, compliance November 8th. I think that is all. That's all I
Okay,
have.
thank you very much. Okay, anybody else have any announcements? All right, would the code officers please come forward and be sworn in?
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
All right, everyone, here's our procedure. We will be calling cases by number and for the most part in order as they are listed on the agenda. If there are any police officers who must get back to assignments, please let us know. If there are any attorneys that need to get to court, please let us know about that as well. When your case is called, please come forward and be sworn in. State your name and address for the record. If you are not the owner of the property, please state your relationship to the owner. Our proceedings are recorded, so please speak into the mic. The board hears from code officers first, and then you'll be given the opportunity to respond and direct all your responses to the board, please. And we take witness testimony as well, following the same procedures. If we don't get finished, which is because it's a long agenda, we take a break at probably 10:45. And if you're still here, you can come up and tell Ms. Hampton that you're here, and then we'll hear your case so that you don't have to wade through all of the cases of people that aren't here after that time. We will start with the old cases and then move on to the new cases.
Madam Chair, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I was
That's
just
okay.
informed by Inspector McCoy that one of the cases that was announced in compliance was the wrong number. So
Okay.
I need to make that correction.
Go ahead.
Case number, where I said case number, item number 39, case number CEB 11-17-146 for 879 Magnolia, that is not in compliance.
Wait a minute, what page is that?
Number 10, page 10, at the top of the page.
Okay. Okay.
So that case is not in compliance. If
Okay.
that person's here, that's not in compliance.
Okay.
Number 38 for 132 North Keach Street, case number 11-17-145. That one is in
Okay.
compliance.
Okay.
November 8th.
Okay. Thank you. All right, we'll start with our lien reviews. Lien Review 1, CEB 03-08-84, 131 Tarragona Way. Is the respondent present? Okay, please come forward.
Good morning.
Good morning. State your name and address, please. And
Stuart Mortimer, 131 Tarragona Way.
okay.
You raise your right hand, please, sir. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
All right, we will hear from Code first, please.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members
Good morning.
of the board. Anthony Jackson, attorney for the city of Daytona Beach. I was going to initially tell you that the pictures speak for themselves, but we're working on the pictures.
Okay.
But basically, the property was in non-compliance. It had been in non-compliance for a long period of time. The pictures just show the extent of the violations and the non-compliance. One among them was that there was a pool and various other violations. As you see, number 1 and number 2 are both
Yes.
related to the property. The circumstance now is, and you saw the request from the applicant. There was a lengthy period of time where it wasn't being addressed, and then there was some change in the situation where, excuse me, where finally he was trying to sell. He couldn't sell because the economy was a long period of time. But ultimately, at least what was represented and what we understand and have seen is that apparently he has a pending sale. I believe the buyer is here, and the new purchaser is actually one who actually brought the property into compliance, and in good faith intends to keep the property up. It is now in compliance. The position of the staff is we request the standard 20% reduction to 20% of the lien. So we're asking
Both
for
cases?
Yeah, for
Okay.
each. So both of them we're asking for a $2,000 for each one, so a total of $4,000 reduction to $2,000 on each case.
And I'm sorry to interrupt, but there needs to be a correction on the agenda in the description for lien review number 2. What the violation was, that did not get updated. It was actually unmaintained landscaping, outside storage, dilapidated fencing, unmaintained and unsecured pool, dilapidated windows, torn and missing screens, dilapidated exterior doors, peeling paint, exterior surfaces, interior surfaces, and missing and dilapidated electrical fixtures. So that was the description of the violations that should have been on the agenda. The LDCs, the maintenance codes are correct, just the description didn't get updated.
Okay.
So just wanted to make that correction.
All right, so that's now on the record. Thank you. Mr. Mortimer, what would you like to tell us? Good morning.
It's a little early, I can't clear my throat.
Okay.
Well, as I stated, I started getting sick about 10 years ago. I moved out of the house. I neglected to give a forwarding address to, I guess it's the assessor. Therefore, we did not have an address.
Mm-hmm.
I was totally unaware of it. My neighbor out there was one of the complainants that had my phone number, but I basically, I know I was cited for junk cars. Those cars were operational. And I tried to get someone out there. Not tried, I did get someone out there maybe 6 times during the summer to mow, but
Are we talking about back in 2008?
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
In the downturn, I couldn't sell the house,
Mm-hmm.
and then I was under the weather. I had a lung operation, one lung removed in February, and I'm not as good as I'd like to be, but I'm back trying to get things in order. I did find a buyer,
Okay.
and that's all I can say.
Okay. All right.
I'm gonna go.
Thank you. Well, let me ask a question about the buyer. Do you have a purchase and sale? Do you?
Well, it can't be sold until the lien is cleared up.
Okay.
It's going to be cleaned up at closing.
But that will be cleaned up at closing. So.
Yes.
All right. Would you like?
And y'all have a contract though, and y'all pending
Yes.
closing, just waiting for this to be resolved.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you. Would you like to testify? Okay. Good morning.
Good morning.
Please state your name and address.
314 South Franklin Street.
Can you raise your right hand, please, sir? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Board. I would like to take time to thank you for addressing this case. We have been working with current seller. I am the consultant on this particular transaction. We have brought it up the code in order so that we can close it.
Right.
One of the issues that we was dealing with because we decided to buy as is, we took on the responsibility to make sure that we can bring it up to code. based on his health.
Uh-huh.
So now that we've done that, we would like to continue to move forward and get it closed as soon as possible.
Okay.
However, I will ask, and I noticed that you did lower the fines down to 2 apiece. And I know that's probably for the work that was done physically.
We haven't voted on that.
We haven't voted on it yet,
Oh,
so
okay.
that's the recommendation from
Okay. But
the
just
department.
in case you decide to vote, we would like to put that money into the project versus paying the liens. However, we do thank you for the consideration of this.
Thank you. All right, any discussion from the board or questions or?
You know, what I'd like to ask the city attorney, how do you determine the percentage of asking for a reduction in the
We look at the overall circumstances, the severity of the lien, the length of the time period, the efforts that were made to bring it into compliance. In this situation specifically, when at least the prospective buyers came in and got involved, they quickly brought it into compliance, and the staff was well satisfied with their involvement in their action, and that's part of what motivated. We're pretty standard or consistent with about a 20% request,
Right.
but it just depends on the various circumstances that, of course, changes with each case.
you know, naturally the complainant, you know, which was a neighbor, did anybody ever speak to them?
Well, it would have, at least, I would think the inspector, I'm sure, that this shade's from way back, so.
Right.
And I would think that the inspector would want to speak
Yes,
with
sir.
Johnston.
If we're not reissuing a case again.
Right.
Good morning, John Stinson, Code Inspector for the City, and qualifications are on the file.
Morning, John.
I responded to this property for the complaint of the pool. I was the next door neighbor. When I went out there, the pool was definitely unmaintained and unsecure. But since then, both those things have been resolved.
Okay, yeah.
Do we have any pictures of the cleanup?
Of the cleanup?
Of the cleaned up property.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's an old yellow house.
Yeah.
It's an older one. That's current. That is the current cleaned up. That's the current status of the property right there. That's a cover on the pool.
Okay.
Oh. That's a cover on the pool. It just, yes, that's a cover
Okay.
on the pool. It's just a little water on top of the cover.
All right. Well, we're really not trying this case again, so, I mean.
No, I was just for
yeah.
curiosity.
Okay. All right. So the chair will entertain a motion to reduce the amount of lien to $2,000 in lien review 1 and lien review 2. This would be CEB 030884 and 1114-123. That would be lien review 2 for a total of $4,000, subject to being paid within 30 days, or the fine will revert to the original amount. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion, Mr. Harrington. Second, Mr. Jones. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries.
You're opposed? Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. All right, let's move on to our continued cases. Case number 1, CEB 07, I'm sorry.
We were going to do number 31.
All right, number 31. There's extenuating circumstances
Yes.
for number 31.
Yes, ma'am.
Which would be a new case, and it's just compliance or non-compliance. It's CEB 1017137, Lori B. McPherson and Peter Santangelo. Respondent present?
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. If you just step up to the microphone, please, sir, and state your
Well, he
the
can-
microphone, and just state your name for the record.
Yep, Peter Santangelo,
You-
142 South Wild Olive Avenue. in
Okay.
Daytona.
And if you could raise your right hand, do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Okay. Thank you.
All right, we will hear from Code first. Mr. Jackson.
Madam Chair, members of the
It's
board,
okay.
This is before you for determination of compliance or noncompliance. The inspector is Jerry Sanders. Mr. Sanders reports that this property remains in noncompliance for no permits for a building of a carport. Mr. Sanders indicates no permits have ever been pulled and nothing's been done since he's been cited.
Okay.
And so we're asking for a finding of noncompliance and give him our next cutoff to come into compliance.
Go ahead. Hi.
We bought the house in 1999, and the carport was in existence then. And as a matter of fact, there was two big, like 40-foot trees between our house and the house next door, and one of them had grown up through the carport. So it tells you the carport has been there forever, And I don't know, what happened way back when, but I've been maintaining it and keeping it, sturdy. So, I'm not, I don't know what to do about do I have to file a permit?
Well, you'll have to get with your code officer, Mr. Sanders, and he can tell you what you need to do to come into compliance.
Okay. I spoke to him, but I have the permit application, and I'm kind of confused. Do I apply for a permit for a new?
You'll have to talk. If you'll talk to Mr. Sanders, he'll tell you exactly what you need to do about that. We can't advise you on what to do, but at this point, we're finding compliance or non-compliance because you don't have a permit for building the carport.
Right.
So,
I'm assuming that thing's been there for probably 50 or 60 years. The house was built in 1937. So.
Okay. We don't have pictures or anything? We don't need pictures. All right. Okay. All right. So what we're going to do is Chair will entertain a motion to find respondent in noncompliance and order the respondent to come into compliance by the next cutoff date, which is December 6, 2017, or be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
All right. Motion, Mrs. Heim, second, Mr. Jones. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. So just talk to your code officer, and he'll tell you what to do, and what you need to do is get that permit to come into compliance. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you. You have a good day.
You too. All right. Let's go back to our continued cases. Case number 1, CEB 07-17-81, Beach Apartments. Respondent present? No. Okay. Mr. Jackson.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for the imposition of a fine. You may recall at our last meeting, this came before you, and there was a little bit of miscommunication as to whether or not it was at least apparently miscommunication to the respondent that perhaps it was only here for a progress report, and so we continued it so that we could make sure that they had clear notice that this was an intent to impose fine, and that's what we will be looking at today, and giving them an opportunity to be heard. The inspector in this case is Jerry Sanders. Mr. Sanders reports that the property remains in noncompliance. He's asking, this is a situation where there were reported that they had contract issues and they were supposed to be getting another contractor, but as you can see, this case goes back to December 2016.
Right.
So the staff is recommending a fine of $250 per day to a maximum of $15,000. And we're asking for that fine to be imposed dated back to the October 12th hearing date.
All right. Any questions? All right. The chair will entertain a motion to impose a fine of $250 per day against the respondent effective October 12, 2017, and continue until compliance is achieved or reaches the maximum of $15,000. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion, Mr. Harrington, second, Mrs. Himes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Thank you. All right. So that is cases 2 and 3 are in compliance. Case 4, CEB 04-17-20, Irvin White. Mr. White? You come forward and be sworn in, please.
Morning.
Good morning.
Can you state your name, please?
Irvin White.
You raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I don't swear, but I will tell you the truth.
Thank you.
All right, we'll hear from Code, sir.
If I can have just one moment, one brief moment.
Okay. This case is taking way too long.
Amy, this statement, junk vehicle outside storage structure, we're only on structure in disrepair.
Yeah, the junk vehicle's not there. And the
Well,
junk,
I would think
right?
we should reflect that then.
Well, it doesn't, because it's part of one case, it doesn't come off entirely.
Yes. According to testimony last time, or several times before, the junk vehicle has been removed. The outside storage of junk and debris has been removed. The structure is still in disrepair. What can you tell us? This case has been going on for a long time. We've heard a lot of testimony, and I want to get it settled today.
Yes, Madam Chair. As you said, this case is before you for imposition of a fine. The inspector is Jerome McCoy. I think our last couple of meetings have been surrounded on this issue of determining the status of what can be built, whether it can be rebuilt as a duplex or whether or not it would have to be rebuilt as a, if there is going to be rebuilt, whether it be built as a single-family home under the change of code. I think what's reported to you at the prior meeting that they had set appointments or meetings with the respondent and his contractor to try and get these questions and issues resolved. The most recent meeting that was set, again, our prior meeting that was set was one where the respondent, I believe, showed, but the contractor didn't. The most recent meeting had the same circumstance, where the contractor did not appear, did not get any kind of updates or anything that would give us any change in the position of the city. The city made an ultimate decision by a letter that was delivered or sent to the respondent on October. If I can get clarification of the date of the letter, please. I don't have a copy of it. On October 27th, and that letter informed him of the final decision of the city. At this point, it's not known what action. It appears nothing's been done since the October 27th letter. The position of the city is that we've done all we can now for the purpose of getting compliance, and so seeing that the letter was on the 27th, we'll ask that. Again, I guess we're left to have to give them this time to comply with this final determination, but we believe that that can be done pretty immediate. It's as simple as the demolition would bring compliance and take away the issues of concern. That was actually a remedy that's always been there, so it's up to you if you want to. If there isn't a position of a fine, the city recommend $100 per day fine to a maximum of $15,000. However, we do recognize at the same time that the notification by letter went out on October 27th as far as the final determination.
And the final determination was that the building needed to be demolished?
Well, I'll have to look to our zoning officers.
Because I just want this to take a few minutes.
Yes. The one on here.
Good morning.
Good morning. Deputy Code Official, Glenn Urquhart.
Can you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Tuesday we went ahead and previous meeting when we were supposed to meet, Mr. Lucas was the contractor that was going to be doing the work, and that was back in October that we were going to meet upstairs, and he didn't show. So I met with the owner on property Tuesday with a new proposed contract, which would be Mr. Jeff Wise. He went ahead and let me inside the house. I've never been inside before, only exterior. Everything was boarded up. He was nice enough to let us inside and do the assessment at that time. The 50% of the front structure is 100% destroyed as far as by fire. You could use some of the floor rafters, but nothing else as far as everything was substantially burned. Now, as far as the back area that we've never been in either, also had fire damage as far as through the electrical system and up into the roofing structure. Mr. Wise is, because what I told him is we need an actual figure, because we never had an actual figure of what it's going to cost to repair it, and that's what he is currently working on for the owner. That's where it was left in as I was brought into this case.
And when was that?
That was on Tuesday. That would be November 7th.
If I can clarify, you said Mr. Wise, meaning Wise Construction?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Contract.
Yes.
I don't. I guess I can ask you this question, Mr. Urquhart. This building has been left. Is there a roof on this building?
There is a dilapidated roof. Yes.
And it does not hold rain out.
No.
So that this building has been open to the elements, including 2 hurricanes.
Yes.
Okay. And nothing has been done to keep that structure from being open to the elements.
No, there's no tarps or anything.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you.
I call the question.
So,
well, all right. Mr. Harrington asked to call the question. The chair will entertain a. What?
let me understand.
You know what? I don't want to, Mr. Harrington. You can. I'm going to ask you to withdraw that because we have not heard from Mr. White yet, and I will give him just a very few minutes to speak since we've heard this case a lot, and then we'll do that. Is that all right with you? Okay. Thank you, Mr. White. Thank you very much. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you all?
Fine, thank you.
Good. I'm doing all I can do on my end of getting this building repaired. Every time I get letters from the city, I respond right away when I get them. I got this letter. It was mailed out on the 27th, I guess. That's the date on the letter. I respond to the letter by getting another contract and giving me another proposal on it. I can't do anything to this building until the city says yay or nay.
On what? Till they say yay or nay on what?
Permit to remodel it or whatever I'm going to do with it. They haven't gave me anything. Every time they give me a letter, I respond to it. They ask for a certified, a notarized statement for the proposal we turned in. I did that last month. The next time I got this letter from this gentleman, Jim Morris, I respond to it as soon as possible. I get these letters 2-3 days before time for me to arrive here. And this is what happened every month. And so I can't do anything. My hands are tied.
All right. Thank you very much.
Mr.
Go ahead.
White, I have a question. Now, from what he was saying, that you contracted with Wise Construction, have he given you a time or gave them a time that this will be done so that the city can make a defined decision as to
He just told me he was
repair?
going to work on the proposal and he'll get back with me. There wasn't no time set or anything, but I can't rush anyone. Ain't nothing I could do. I'm here waiting to go to work. I'm paying for license for a place to rent that I came was renting. I'm finna get fined $100 a day for license that's supposed to be a rental. I can't rent. I can't do anything with it. I respond every time I get a letter from the city to my best of knowledge I can.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions from the board or discussion?
You got a question for?
Nothing? All right, Mr. Harrington called the question. The chair will entertain a motion to impose a fine of $100 per day against the respondent effective today, November 9th, 2017, and continue until compliance is achieved or reaches the maximum of $15,000. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion, Mr. Harrington, second, Mr. Jones. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed.
Anyone opposed?
No.
No.
Do we have one
Mrs.
opposed?
Hines, same
Okay.
two opposed.
Okay. Motion carries. All right, let's move on to the next case. Case number 5, CEB 04-17-21, MHP Daytona Air. Respondent present? All right. Mr. Jackson.
Madam Chair, members of the board, last we heard on this, I know we were working on resolving roof damage. The inspector, John Stinson, Mr. Stinson reports that he's had no contact from the respondent since the last time he appeared in the meeting. The property remains in non-compliance. Request is that $200 a day fine be imposed to a maximum of $15,000.
Okay.
And I think Mr. Stinson
How much a day you said?
I'm sorry, $200 per day.
All right. Any questions from the board or comments? Chair will entertain a motion to impose a fine of $200 per day against the respondent effective November 9th, 2017, and continue until compliance is achieved or reaches the maximum of $15,000. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Mr. Weatherholtz. Is there a second? Second, Mr. Jones. All in favor say aye. Aye. Like sign opposed. Motion carries. Thank you. Case number 8, CEB 07-17-79, John B. Clark. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Case number 6, 07-17-79. Mr. Clark here? Okay. Please come forward and be sworn in. Good morning.
My name is Donna Clark. I'm the wife.
You're the wife of Mr. Clark?
Right, Ms. Clark.
Okay. Can you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Yes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll hear from Code first.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for imposition of a fine. Excuse me.
Okay.
I'm sorry. This is before you for imposition of a fine. The inspector is John Stinson. Mr. Stinson reports that the respondent applied for a permit on 9/1 of 2017. The permit was denied on 9/20. Any other details that permit, Mr. Stinson will be able to advise you of. He reports that the property remains in non-compliance.
Okay.
And is asking for a $200 per day fine to a maximum of $15,000.
What per day?
$200 a day fine to a maximum of $15,000.
Okay.
And I'll attend to Mr. Stinson.
All right. Mr. Stinson, so there's been no correction or reapplication?
No, ma'am. Not
Okay.
to this point. Right now, the description of work to be done is not specific enough. Permit is not required to paint. However, other repairs such as stairs, support columns, and beams will require a contractor. Electrical and plumbing will require contractors. These are the notes from the building department for the corrections to the permit in order for them to obtain.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Mrs. Clark? Good morning. What would you like to tell us?
There hasn't been any exterior work done that requires a permit. It is
they did start on the interior with some paint and started to tile, but nothing has been done. We've asked if a permit's been needed for the interior, and they've said no. John Clark, my husband, has been sick and under a doctor's care. The elevator wasn't working today, so he struggled to even get upstairs, and he is scheduled for heart surgery the 28th. So work has not been done, and from what I've been told, no permit is required for what little they tried to do on the inside.
Okay. But go ahead. Do you have a question, Mrs. Hines?
Yeah, she said you were told by the code inspector that you didn't need.
I haven't spoken with the code inspector.
Oh, okay.
We went downstairs to the building people and said, right now the only thing that we're trying to do is do some paint and some flooring, and they said it's not needed for that, and that you do not need a building permit for that.
Okay.
Do you recognize that you have to have one to put in stairs and plumbing and electrical?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
But that has not begun, and I'm not sure when we will, just because of his heart condition.
He won't be doing the work.
Oh, I
No.
don't believe so.
Right.
Not right now.
Okay.
So the case is there for the outside, not the inside.
Right.
So we don't have.
Do you live there?
No.
Does anyone live there?
No.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Mr. Stenson, I just want to clarify that what code issues are being addressed here. I can see that there are code issues, but what I'm asking, I guess, is in order to come into compliance, they need to get a permit for all the work that needs to be done, or a lot of the work that needs to be done on the outside to come into compliance, and that's what the complaint is?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I'd like to know why was it denied on the 20th? Did you say it was applied?
The notes from Building Inspector Ron Roberts read, the description of work to be done is not specific. A permit is not required to paint or install tile.
Okay.
However, any other repairs, such as stairs, support columns, and beams, will
Right.
require a contractor. Electrical and plumbing will also require a contractor.
Okay.
So the beams, stairs, support columns, all of that is exterior things.
So it's the contractor who would apply for the new permit?
As of now, no. There's still, the permit application has already been submitted.
John, if she
They're requiring
resubmits the application, gives those changes that are requested, the permit would be issued.
Yes.
And that would temporarily put this case on hold until for 6 months.
Well, I mean, the violation is no permit. As soon as that
Correct.
permit is
Correct.
issued, technically the violation has been corrected.
Has the permit for all this other work been applied for?
I don't have the answer to that.
Okay. All right.
Well, wouldn't that be easy to find on the website?
Well, I think Mrs. Clark can probably answer that
The
one.
question is, she going to get a permit or not?
Yeah, that's okay. Let me talk to Mrs. Clark again. Thank you, John. Are you getting a permit for this work?
We will get a permit whenever we're able to begin the work or hire a contractor. But right now, my focus is on getting my husband well. But I think we maybe applied for a permit, and I wasn't a part of that at the beginning, thinking we needed to do that. And as far as we got was the interior started.
How long have you owned this house?
I don't know the date. I don't know.
Would you guess at 10 years, 5 years, 2 years?
Right.
A year.
A year. The issue's the exterior, not the interior.
Yes,
Is correct.
and
June 2016.
Okay.
June 2016.
Mhm. Okay.
2016.
2016. I don't think that continuing will do anything. All right. Any other comments?
Well, what do we do here if they
Well, we can
have
either
outside damage? In order to come in compliance,
They
have
need to get a permit. They haven't applied for a
And
permit.
they're not going to get a permit till who knows when.
Right.
So what is our obligation?
Madam Chair, if I may.
Go ahead.
I think there's one inquiry of the inspector that the board hasn't made, and I think that he needs to make sure it's clear to you. That question would be, and I'd ask him to come back to the podium. The question would be, has he seen work being done that requires a permit?
Right.
And will you speak to that, please?
The
Okay.
answer is yes.
Okay.
Yes. When I
Okay.
responded to the complaint,
Okay.
there was active work going on
Okay.
in the exterior.
All right.
Who filed the complaint?
It's anonymous. I have no idea.
Okay, a neighbor, or you think you don't know?
Anonymous. Okay. All right. Any other questions from the board? All right. The chair will entertain a motion to impose a fine of $200 per day against the respondent effective today, November 9th, 2017, and continue until compliance is achieved or reaches a maximum of $15,000. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Weatherholtz made the motion. Mr. Harrington, the second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Like sign opposed. Motion.
Nay. Two opposed?
Motion
I
carries.
oppose as well.
So, okay. So it's 3-3. Aye. Motion fails.
The 6 year.
Wait a minute. 1, 2,
Mrs.
3,
House opposed?
4, 5, 6.
Mrs. Himes opposed, Mr. Jones opposed.
3-3.
Okay.
Yes.
Right.
So it fails.
Right.
Okay. So the motion fails. So we need a new motion?
No motion.
Would anybody like to make a new motion? What is the objection?
Objections to
All right.
the motion based on the amount?
Wait a minute. Mrs. Himes is speaking, then I'll let you talk. Go ahead.
Bring the microphone down. Thank you.
I motion that we give an extension of 3 months under the circumstances to bring this in compliance and come back before the board.
Was that your motion?
Yes.
I second that.
All right. We have a motion to amend our previous order of noncompliance and allow respondent until when?
3 months.
3 months.
That would be the February cutoff day would be January 31st.
Until January 31st to come into compliance and be returned to the board. For imposition of a fine. Is there such a there's a motion and a second, Mr. Jones. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. All right, motion carries.
No one opposed? Okay.
Case number 7, CEB 08-17-95, Paul Protentis. Mr. Protentis here? Okay. Mr. Jackson.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for imposition of a fine. The inspector is John Stinson. Mr. Stinson reports that nothing has been completed on this property. This came to him as a tenant complaint. He does indicate, well, I need to ask him a further question on that, but the recommendation from Mr. Stinson is $200 per day fine to a maximum of $15,000 plus a $250 administrative fee for not having the business tax receipt. And I will tender Mr. Stinson for factual questions regarding the status of the property.
Okay. Mr. Stenson.
Good morning again.
Good morning.
Stenson, Code Inspector. City qualifications are on file. This case began as a tenant complaint of the conditions for outside storage, damaged fencing, dilapidated roof, interior surfaces, and it's an unlicensed rental property. I have had 2 conversations with the actual property owner, and
the last conversation, he gave me the impression that he was not inclined to do anything until after this tenant has moved on. And
Okay.
he did not give me a time frame when that's supposed to happen.
All right, thank you. Any questions from the board? All right, the chair will entertain a motion to impose a fine of $200 per day and a motion to impose a $250 one-time BTR administrative fee. Effective today, November 9th, 2017, and continue until compliance is achieved or reaches a maximum of $15,000. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion, Mrs. House, second, Mr. Weatherholtz. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. All right, case 8 is in compliance. Case 9 is in compliance. We'll be on case 10, CEB 09-17-107. Mr. Stearns. Not present. All right.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for imposition of a fine. The inspector is Jerry Sanders. Mr. Sanders reports that there's been no change. He's had no contact from the respondent, and he is requesting that that a fine be imposed of $250 per day to a maximum of $10,000, $15,000.
Okay. Any questions or comments from the board?
Did you have a signed receipt for him getting notice?
No, ma'am, it was posted. The property was posted.
Okay.
The notice. All the mail's been returned.
Okay. Any other comments? All right, the chair will entertain a motion to impose a fine of $250 per day against the respondent effective today, November 9th, 2017, and continue until compliance is achieved or reaches a maximum of $15,000. Is there such a motion? Motion, Mr. Weatherholtz, a second. Second, Mrs. Himes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. Case number 11, CEB 09-17-108, Ramon and Jane Saeed, I guess. I don't know whether I'm pronouncing it right. Anyone here? Okay. We'll hear from Mr. Jackson.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for imposition of a fine. The inspector is Jerry Sanders. Mr. Sanders reports he's had no contact from the respondent. Nothing's been done. It remains in noncompliance. He is requesting $250 a day fine to a maximum of $25,000. And I turn to Mr. Sanders for any factual questions.
Okay. Any questions?
This the one we had before us was.
Yes, this was before us last time, and he actually showed up. And it was 5 units over a warehouse or something, and the zoning changed to M, if you recall any of this. Don't even know that he's allowed to rent this or not. Is this a legal rental or an illegal rental?
We did
None of it
withdraw.
matters.
I noticed that we have the business tax receipt expired, but we withdraw the requirement for the business tax.
All right.
Because
It's not
Of the zoning.
right. Okay.
So you're asking.
But the violations remain, so we're asking
Right.
for the $250
Okay.
per day to a maximum of
Okay.
$25,000.
All right. Any other comments? All right. The chair will entertain a motion to impose a fine of $250 per day against the respondent effective today, November 9th, 2017, and continue until compliance is achieved or reaches a maximum of $25,000. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right. Let's see. Mr. Weatherholtz made the motion. Mrs. Himes the second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Case number 12, CEB 109-17-113. Uzair Suja. I don't know how you say that, so.
Close.
Shuja. Are you? Okay, please come forward. Be sworn in. State your name and address for the record. Good morning.
Yes, my name is Bas Shuja. My address is 7.
Will you say that again for me?
Bas Shuja.
Okay. Suja.
My address is 778 Bear Creek Circle.
I'm sorry, can you speak up, please?
My address is 778 Bear Creek Circle.
778.
Bear Creek Circle.
Is that microphone on?
Winter Springs. 32708.
There we go. That's better. Okay.
Winter Springs 32708.
08.
Okay, raise your right hand, please, sir. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, we will hear from our attorney first, and then we'll allow you to respond.
Madam Chair, members of the board, as you can see, this property owner has 3 properties.
Yes.
We'll take them one at a time. The inspector, in this case, 17113, 09-17113, on 116 Emmett Street. The inspector is Jerome McCoy. Mr. McCoy reports that the property remains in noncompliance, but he reports that the respondent is doing some work. He met with him on the property yesterday. He believes that he can have it in compliance by next month. In fact, all 3 of the properties in compliance by next cutoff. And so the recommendation of staff is that we amend to the next cutoff for compliance. And I tend to Mr. McCoy if you have any questions.
Okay, Mr. McCoy, what's been accomplished?
Good morning.
Good morning.
McCoy, Code Inspector for the city. What's been accomplished is the apartment number 3, which was the initial complaint. It's been work done on the flooring in there.
Okay.
Also on the windows, and it's been treated for pests.
Are there people in there?
At this time, it is a new tenant that's inside that apartment.
Does he have his license yet?
No, the license is still applied for.
It's applied for. How much
Yes.
long does
Well,
that normally take?
It won't be issued until after the rental inspection. I went out yesterday and I met the owner there yesterday, and that's how I became aware that it is a new tenant inside. But the license itself hasn't been applied. I mean, it hasn't been issued yet. That won't be issued until after the rental inspection is scheduled, and then I go in and do the inspection.
Okay. It was rented prior to this new tenant.
Yes, sir.
Could I ask the respondent why you didn't have a license?
So, I have met with the code enforcement officer several times, and I had written up a list of all the items that was required, and over 90% of the work had been done since yesterday.
My question is why you didn't have a license.
I went down to the licensing office, and I was told that until you satisfy everything that the code enforcement people require, we put everything on hold from you. And we've been diligently working on that property, and as far as I'm concerned, today we should have been completely compliant. As I said, 90% of the work has been done. Yesterday, on an inspection, a very few amount of items, I'm hoping you would confirm that, were left, and they will be done within the next week or so. And we're hoping to, however, the new tenant that came in, we had a HUD inspection done, and it passed the HUD inspection. So I'm I'm positive that within the next week or so we will have everything done and be in compliance with the license.
Okay.
Again, I have paid for a license already. The record should show that.
Okay, because we're lumping 3 properties together, and I noticed there's another one with no license. Was that the same story?
It's one parcel. It has 4 apartments.
Okay.
The next one is
the
same.
Okay.
So, all right.
How long have you owned this property?
About 2.5 to 2.5 years.
And it's been rented out the entire time?
No, not its entire time. It's been, I would say, half of that time. Half of that time. It was bank owned, and we had a lot of work done to that property.
Okay. All right. I'm wondering if I read into the record the case numbers, whether we can do all three of these at one shot. All right. The chair will entertain a motion unless there are other comments. Go ahead, Mr. Weatherford.
I'm not sure of, you're talking about one building, but there's 3 in here. What about the other 2? Are they in non-compliance also? Or 4? I'd like the inspector to address that, if you would, sir.
It's actually 2 buildings. It's 3 units on the first building. The 116, 118 is directly behind that. It's actually 2 units.
But it's one parcel?
It's one parcel, correct.
But is there, we keep getting one picture up there. The second unit, does that have non-compliance items attached to it?
That's correct. But there have been addressed also, and my position is that they're up to where I'm satisfied at this point. And it's a little work that needs to be done on that also, but that's why we're asking for to the next bill.
So do I hear you correctly? What you're saying is that on these 3 properties, everything is almost done.
Right.
So
Right.
you just want to give until
Yeah.
the next cutoff
Right.
for completion of everything.
Right.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. The chair will entertain a motion to amend the previous order of non-compliance on case number CEB 0917113, CEB 0917114, CEB 0917115, and allow the respondent until the next cutoff date, which is, what is the next?
December 6th.
December 6th, 2017, to come into compliance and be returned to a subsequent meeting for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day until compliance is achieved. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
All right, motion Mrs. Himes, second Mr. Jones. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. Thank you. Okay. So we will now move on to case number 15, CEB 09-17-117. Respondent present. Miss case 15?
Oh.
Okay, state your name and address for the record, please.
My name again, Shabazz Shuja, 778 Bear Creek Circle, Winter Springs, Florida, 32708.
And he's been previously sworn.
But what is your relationship to Mr. Chaudhry?
Basically, he is a family member of mine, and I'm trying to take care of the code violations on this property. And I had an appointment with the code enforcement officer yesterday, and again, once more, 90% of the work that at the previous meeting that I took down, point by point, has been taking place. These pictures are very old pictures. I'm not sure if he has had those pictures from yesterday. It is much more better condition than what it is at the moment. What it's been shown
Okay.
at the moment.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mr. Jackson.
Madam Chair, members of the board, the inspector agreed. This is basically a similar situation as the other 3 in terms of he met with this representative of the respondent. He understood him to be a representative for the owner, and that the status of the property is that it is near completion, and he would ask, and the staff would ask for the additional time.
Okay.
Do we have any pictures of all these repairs that have been made? I'd like to see them.
Let me ask Mr. Suja a question. I think we need it in the record. Do you have permission to speak for the owner of the property?
Yes, I do.
Okay, thank you.
Are these yesterday pictures?
I can't see the date.
No, ma'am, these are not the, they haven't been noted.
Downloaded.
But I would testify that the work
Okay.
has been done.
Okay, that's all we
Mr.
need.
McCoy, would it be too much trouble that at the next hearing, you bring some pictures of the property and what it looks like?
Yes, sir.
I'm very concerned about this. 5 properties there that looked like they were in shambles since June when they were first sited. They're being repaired, and we have no licenses. It just makes me very uncomfortable this is going on.
You know, another thing, some of the items in here, you know, the electrical, plumbing, and are all of these licensed contractors that's doing the repairs? Has permits been pulled on all of them?
On the electrical, it was only the outlets, like GFI and stuff like that.
So we don't need a permit for that work, for the electrical or the plumbing work that's required? Okay.
On any of the buildings?
Well, we're just talking about this one right now because we're finished with the
Okay.
other ones
Well,
till next time. Okay.
Because there does seem to be a pattern, unless these were newly purchased. You know, over the years, you know, with the complaints generated, to giving, you know, I'm all for giving him time if they were recently purchased or whatever, but a continuing thing, you know, it's like, not even talking about the other ones, just this one. Is it recently purchased?
Sir, I'm sorry, you have to step up to the microphone to respond.
I don't know, not in this
Approximately
case.
a year and a half ago, but I wish the current pictures were here, and you could see there's a big difference between what it is there and what it is now.
Is it because that you were fined or that you started these repairs? How come about a year and a half ago were they in this disrepair when you purchased the property?
Yes, there were.
And you haven't done anything until now since you've been...
No, the work has been carried out. As I said, as far as I'm concerned, I had a meeting with the code enforcement officer more than a month ago. I wrote down every single thing that was needed to be done. And as far as I'm concerned, every single thing was done, but 1 or 2 items were added, which I wasn't happy about, but I am here to satisfy the code enforcement people, and that's what we will be doing.
Do you have a renter in there at the present time?
Not at the moment.
But there has been?
There has been,
In the
correct.
last year and a half?
There has been, yes.
Was there ever a rental license?
The owner was not aware that a rental license was needed, as he was a new owner at that particular time. And if it's, in the future, if it's required, it will be taken care of. The license will be applied for. I will make sure, because now I'm in the picture to help him out. He's been out of the country for a long time, and that's one of the reasons why, as a relative, I've stepped in and said, look, I'll take care of, make sure everything is compliant.
Okay. Any more comments? Chair will entertain a motion to amend the previous order of noncompliance and allow respondent until the next cutoff date, 12/6/17, to come into compliance and be returned to a subsequent meeting for a consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day until compliance is achieved. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion, Mrs. Himes. Second, Mrs. House. All in favor say aye. Like sign opposed.
Opposed.
Motion carries.
4-2?
4-2. Okay, 4-2. All right, sir, that's the Is that the end of the case, or are you here for another one? All right, case number 16, CEB 09-17-118. Mohammed M. Kabaza. Respondent present. He was here last time, correct? Not here this time. All right.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for imposition of a fine. The inspector, Jerome McCoy. Mr. McCoy reports the property remains in non-compliance. He's requesting $250 per day fine to a maximum of $15,000. And I turn to Mr. McCoy.
Okay. All right, Mr. McCoy, is there a posted sign for no trespassing yet?
No, it's not up there.
Okay. The respondent last time said they were having a transient problem, and Officer Jesmer knew about this. And nothing's been done. There's no sign up there, no official trespass sign, no nothing.
He's never reached out to me.
Okay.
My business card.
Okay. All right. Okay. Likewise, nothing to you too. All right. Any comments from the board? All right. The chair will entertain a motion to impose a fine of $250 per day against the respondent effective November 9th, 2017, and continue until compliance is achieved or reaches a maximum of $15,000. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion. Was that Mr. Weatherholtz and a second, Mrs. Himes? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. Thank you. Case number 17, CEB 09-17-119, Land Trust 433 Marion. Last time there were people here, respondents here. No respondents here now. Okay.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for imposition of a fine. The inspector is Jerome McCoy. Mr. McCoy reports that the property remains in noncompliance. And Mr. McCoy requests that a $100 per day fine be imposed to a maximum of $15,000 and a $250 administrative fee for the failure to obtain the business tax receipt. And I turn to Mr. McCoy.
Okay. Was this the property, Mr. McCoy, where there was a foreclosure? And you asked for a timeline for that foreclosure? Have we received any of that information?
I haven't heard anything from the respondent.
Okay.
Is there tenants or someone living in it?
It's originally a complaint driven from the tenant. To my understanding, she's still there.
Okay.
I haven't spoken to the owner or the owner's representative since the last hearing.
Okay.
So I don't know if she's in because I can't get inside to do an inspection.
Okay. Any other comments? All right, the chair will entertain a motion to impose a fine of $100 per day against the respondent effective November 9th, 2017, and also impose a $250 one-time administrative fee for the BTR. And this will continue until compliance is achieved or reaches the maximum of $15,000. Is there such a motion?
Madam Chair, before you move forward on the motion, I just want to make sure I clarify that what I'd asked for is $150 per day.
I'm sorry. I will amend, the chair will amend its own motion to $150 per day. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Mrs. House, second, Mr. Jones. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. All right, case number 18 is in compliance. Case number 19, CEB 09-17-101. Mr. Suja, please come forward. You've already been sworn in, so we'll go from there. Just state your name and address for the record.
Subhash Shuja, 778 Bay Creek Circle, Winter Springs, Florida, 32708.
Okay. So are you going to be testifying, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we'll come up and state your name and address for the record, please.
Justin Adams, 553 Derbyshire Road, Daytona Beach, Florida, 32111.
Can you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
What is your involvement with the property?
I'm the tenant.
You're the tenant, okay.
Okay. All right. We'll give you your say. All right. Mr. Jackson. Let's let Mr. Jackson speak first.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for determination of, for imposition of a fine. The inspector is Mark Jones. Mr. Jones reports, just as indicated, that work is being done without permits. There's no change. No permits have been obtained. Mr. Jones requests that a fine of $250 a day be imposed to a maximum of $15,000. As noted, the current tenant is present and would like to be here.
Okay. All right. Let's, Mr. Adams, we'll hear from you first.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I'm the tenant at 553 Derbyshire Road. Responding to an ad on Craigslist for a house that basically needs small to minor repair, 3 months free rent due to small minor repair. As you look on the outside of the home, it looks like it's livable inside. It's nice, it's brick. It looks like something, okay, you can handle. I decided to meet the landlord to sign the lease agreement, which I said, okay, I can do these repairs. I haven't been into the home because he couldn't meet me on the property. Once we went to the property after I signed the lease, I found out that the home was unlivable. It was infested by termites, roaches. There was black mold going up the walls, broken water pipes, and actually there was no roof. I had to actually literally shovel probably 2.5 feet of garbage off the floor throughout the whole entire house before I was actually able to get to the subfloor. Once I got to the subfloor, I fell through it more than once, over 16 different times. Come to find out that the subfloor beams were completely rotten. So I started to do the repairs on the home because I was in such a tight situation that I have kids of my own and a girlfriend, and we barely make it. 3 months. No, I told him it's going to take longer than 3 months, but I need permits pulled. He said, those permits will be pulled, don't you worry. As I started working on the roof, well, permits weren't pulled, and I kept calling him, and he refused to answer his phone. All of a sudden, I got a stop work order from the city. That's when I called him and let him know, hey, there's a stop work order. Where are my permits? He said, don't worry about it. Keep working. As long as you're inside the house, it does not matter. As I kept working, I kept waiting on the permits. He'll buy a little bit of material, but none of that material would match. So I had to go out of my own money and buy screws because I ran out. I had to go buy a plumbing pipe because he'll get the cheap plumbing pipe, not the correct stuff that he made me go to the store and do. And I said, hold on, something's wrong. Well, this work that's going on, you need a contractor. I'm not a contractor. I called him once more again. I said, I'm not going to do no more work until I get a contractor. I couldn't stay in the house. You see right there, that is a sunroom that I had to purchase and put outside the carport because when I first moved into this home, I had to stay in a tent with my girlfriend for a month and a half.
Can I ask you a question? I don't mean to interrupt you, but when did you move in?
I moved in probably in...
I mean, just about.
I say probably about January, February, I believe.
17.
Of 2017.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Are you still there?
I am still living on the carport. I have not lived in the house because the house is still uninhabitable. It still has holes in the roof and the floor joists are still rotten.
Okay.
And he refused to buy any more material. But I also refuse to do any work because now I know. I'm from Maryland.
All right. Okay. I hear what board, I think, understands what you're saying. We're going to let Mr. Suja respond, and then we'll make a determination.
This is, right now, we're under litigation. I'm trying to
Who's under litigation?
Between the tenant and the landlord. We're trying to remove this tenant as quickly as possible. He has fabricated many things, and I don't think it's fair for him to come out here and discuss the lies that he has done. It's very unfair. I have something in writing between a contract between me and him that he'd agreed on. He was a licensed contractor, and he said he was going to pull the permit.
Well, I don't have any of that as evidence in front of me, so we're getting kind of... And we've made a decision that you're not in compliance with these things already.
Right.
So I don't want this to drag on.
Neither do I. My question is, ma'am, I have this situation. I have a litigation with this tenant, 2017 37226 COCI. This is under litigation. The tenant never allowed any access to either myself or any of my contractors. He actually showed pictures of guns. He actually threatened me.
We're not trying that case here. What we're talking about, and I have to just make this clear to you,
yes, ma'am,
is that we are talking about the code violations on the house. We are not talking about anything else.
Absolutely. And
according to the code officer, these violations have not been fixed. And we've ruled on that you are not in compliance, and you're still not in compliance. At this point, that's all the testimony I'm willing to take. I'll
call the question.
My request
We're going to call the question right now. Is there anybody else that would like to make a comment?
Is Adiba your wife?
She's a family member of mine. She's not my wife. No.
All right.
So the work
My request is for me to allow to have access to the property so I can have the work done.
Okay.
That's my.
All right.
I don't have no access to the property until.
All right. The chair will entertain a motion to impose a fine of $250 per day against the respondent effective November 9th, 2017, and continue until compliance is achieved or reaches a maximum
I'd like
of
to
15.
have a comment before we vote
All right,
on that.
excuse me. Okay, I'll withdraw that, and let's have, if there are more comments, go ahead.
I would like to make it a $500 a day fine.
Okay.
My comment is all of the things that's going on here. This gentleman says he's a family member, that he realizes that he cannot pull a permit. It has to be the owner, and it has to be a licensed general or licensed contract for each thing. The city has a code that says that where it's against the law for anybody to pull a permit, and this is classified as commercial since it is rental. So let that be noted and on the record.
There's no mention of anyone having a license, even though it's not on.
It has to be a licensed contractor, period.
No, a license to rent this property.
That's not in front of us, though.
Right, that's not.
Working without
All right.
permits.
Okay.
There has been no permits.
Right. All right, so I'm going to restate this. The chair will entertain a motion to impose a fine of $500 per day against the respondent effective November 9th, 2017, and continue until compliance is achieved or reaches the maximum of $15,000. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, motion Mrs. Himes, second Mr. Jones. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. All right. Case number 20. CEB 10-17-124. Mr. Suja. Wow.
Shabazz Shuja, 778 Bay Creek Circle, Winter Springs.
All right. We're going to hear from Mr. Jackson first, and then Mr. Jones. Then you can respond.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for imposition of a fine. The inspector is Mark Jones. Mr. Jones reports that the property remains in non-compliance. He has done nothing. He still does not have the rental license nor the business tax receipt, and he has not taken care of the necessary repairs. The request is that a fine of $250 a day be imposed to a maximum of $15,000 plus a $250 administrative fee for the failure to obtain the business tax receipt. And I turn to Mr. Jones if you have any questions.
Okay. Mr. Jones, I have a question for you. Is the property occupied at this point?
Yes, it is.
Okay. All right. Do you have anything you'd like to add?
There's just been no change in the condition of the property.
Okay.
As of yesterday.
Okay. All right. Any questions for Mr. Jones? Anybody else? Okay, Mr. Suja. What about this property?
This property is a similar situation in which...
Do you own this property?
I do not own this property. It's a family member who owns the same as the previous one.
And what is the name of that family member?
Adiba Shuja.
Oh, okay. Adiba, all right.
Once again, we have a situation where access is being denied, like the previous situation. If access was denied, we would not be here. Everything would be done. But when access is denied, I have sent several contractors out there to do the work, and he's not even a tenant. He actually has driven them off. Again, this is under litigation.
He's done what?
He's driven them off. He's not allowed them on the property.
I see. Okay.
Similar to the previous situation. And I think the board needs to be a little bit more compassionate, because this is not, I feel I'm being, anyway, if I'm not giving access to the property, how am I supposed to be doing the work?
We can't answer those questions for you.
I've given you evidence that we are under litigation. And this is under litigation, and I can give you the case number 2017-36773 COCI.
What's the date?
Mr.
The litigation date. The summons was served on October the 4th, and we are still under litigation. I do not have possession of the property at this.
Summons was October the 4th, but you were fined on August.
I have
notified.
As I said, I have tried to gain access. Even up until last week, I have tried to gain access to the property. It is fenced. I did send somebody in, even though they didn't want to open the gate and go in. They did go in, and they were driven out. They said, "Do not, this is under a situation where it's litigation, and you're not allowed to. I'm not giving you permission to come into the property."
All right, Mrs. Himes.
I could bring witnesses to that effect.
Siju, why is Mr. Adiba did not come?
Mrs. Adiba is not in Florida at the moment. She is over 72 years old, and I'm once again trying to help her situation rather than to escalate to the situation that it is, and I'm trying to resolve these issues.
But given, back to what Mr. Weatherhall said, these permits and things are going to have to be pulled by the owner.
Absolutely.
My request is for you, if you can allow me to have 30 days, and by next, even though if I have 4 days or 5 days left, at this moment in time with this particular property, it was overgrown weeds, and a side of the panel of the fencing needed to be replaced. I don't understand. I don't think they need permits.
All right.
And I will have it compliant. I only need 2 days to get inside.
All right. The chair will entertain a motion to impose a fine of $500 per day against the respondent effective today, November 9th, 2017, and continue until compliance is achieved or reaches the maximum of $15,000, and further imposes a one-time $250 administrative fee for BTR.
So moved.
Second.
Motion, Mr. Harrington, second, Mr. Jones. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. All right. We're going to move. Case number 21 is in compliance. Case number 22. CEB 10-17-125, Lloyd Haynes. Mr. Haynes here? Wasn't here last time either, when we found him in noncompliance.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for imposition of a fine. The inspector is Mark Jones. Mr. Jones reports that the fence has been repaired. However, the junk vehicle remains, and he is asking for a fine of $100 a day to be imposed to a maximum of $10,000. And I attend to Mr. Jones.
Okay. That's a junk vehicle. Looks like a junk vehicle. All right. Any questions? Chair will entertain a motion to impose a fine of $100 per day against the respondent effective November 9th, 2017, and continue until compliance is achieved or reaches a maximum of $10,000. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Mr. Weatherholt, second, Mrs. Himes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries.
Mr. Jones is not here.
All right. Mr. Jones has stepped out at 10:30. Case number 29 is in compliance. 23 is in compliance. Case number 24, CEB 10-17-127, the Carolyn Shave Living Trust. Respondent present? Yes. Good. Come forward and be sworn in.
Good morning. Can you state your name, please? Carolyn Shade. Can you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
Thank you. We'll hear from Code, and then we'll let you speak.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for imposition of a fine for no permits for renovation. The inspector is Mark Jones. Mr. Jones reports that the permit is under review, and he's asking that this be amended to the January cutoff for everything to be resolved. And I attend to Mr. Jones.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Jones? Would you like to say anything? We haven't done anything yet, but okay. All right. The chair will entertain a motion to amend the previous order of noncompliance and allow respondent until the January cutoff date, which is 1/3/18, to come into compliance or be returned to a subsequent meeting for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day until compliance is achieved. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Mrs. Himes, second, Mrs. House. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. Okay, thank you. Case number 23, we just did case 24. Case number 25, CEB 10-17-129, Angelo Pagan. Respondent is present. Please come forward. Good morning.
Good morning.
Can you state your name, please, sir?
Angelo Pagan.
Can you raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. We'll let Mr. Jackson speak first, and we'll give you an opportunity.
Okay.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for imposition of a fine. The inspector is Mark Jones. Mr. Jones reports that the property remains in non-compliance, still no permits for renovation, no RTL, no BTR. Mr. Jones is requesting a $250 a day fine to a maximum of $15,000 and a $250 administrative fee for not having the BTR. And I attend to Mr. Jones for any questions.
Okay.
I'd like to ask the inspector a question. would.
Yes.
The work, it's a little light on no permit for renovations.
That was for windows and door, in the front door.
The structural, I'm looking at the supports, roof, everything.
Yeah, the violation that I was able to note was just the front door and the changing of the windows.
Is this a rental property?
Yes, it is, or at least it was rented when I inspected the property.
And since it's a structural, it has to be a licensed contractor in order to do those repairs.
Correct. He will probably be required to get an engineer to provide an affidavit that the doors and the windows were put in properly, but he'll have to get a permit.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other questions for Mr. Jones? Okay. Mr. Pagan. Sorry, I mispronounced your name.
No problem. I'm from New York, and I didn't realize that you had to have these things. So it's not a rental property, too. It's my house. I bought the houses, one for my nephew, one for me. They're both across the street from each other. And I didn't know that permits were supposed to be, pulled, basically.
They don't require permits for work in New York?
No, not for windows or doors, no.
So may I ask, the pictures that we saw are two different houses, or is that's just one?
It is the same house, just at different periods.
Oh,
What is
okay.
shown is what was on the listing when the property was listed for sale.
Okay.
And then it shows the new doors and windows.
Okay.
Plus, I didn't put the doors or the windows in. The lady that I bought the house from, she put them in. I told her that I didn't want to buy the house unless these repairs were, done. And, so I don't know any of these.
When did you buy the house?
About a year ago.
Okay. Is this the house you live in, or do you live in the house across the street?
This is the house that I stay in when I come down here.
Oh, okay.
So it's not rented.
So it's vacant, unless you're
no,
in
I
it.
have a roommate. He's here, but he's not. Oh, come on.
Good. Would you state your name and address for the record, please, sir?
Jamal Bell.
Okay. What's your address?
548 Spruce Street.
Do you have anything that you'd like
Can you
to?
raise your right hand,
Okay.
please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
What would you like to say?
The windows was already there, I mean, when we bought the house, so we just put the window, during the hurricane, people breaking in, I beat up 2 days. And if you had a few break-ins, air conditioners witness and stuff like that, windows, you had to replace the window pane on the windows. But now they saying, the lady before already put the windows in, now it's coming down on those.
And the doors.
Oh, yeah, the doors too. Yeah,
That's
got
it.
kicked
Okay.
in.
You-
What the front door got kicked in, so you had to repair it.
You live there free?
Yeah, free. It's a family.
Yeah. I don't charge him anything.
I've been
Stay
there
there.
a long time.
Hey, it's okay. That's fine.
But we're gonna take care of whatever it is.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll take care of it. The thing is, I'm gonna have to get an architect or an engineer, whichever I gotta do. He said either
I don't
one.
think an architect. I mean,
Said they
that,
could do
I
it.
don't know. You'll have to speak to him. That's not up to us. But you can talk to him after to know exactly. But you're being asked to get permits.
Right.
Yeah, but some we didn't even do.
I don't know how to go about it, so I'm trying to figure this whole thing out. So,
Okay.
I came down from New York just to be here.
Yeah,
to
I
take
get.
care of this.
Okay.
So can I ask, when are you here at the house? You say you don't live there all the time.
I come a couple times a year, 2-3 times a year, because my mother lives in Edgewater, so.
Well, I guess in order to come into compliance? Well, actually, you're notified in July, and it's now November.
Yeah.
You were told that you needed permits.
Right, but I travel for my business because I do, construction on the
Okay.
road throughout the United States. So, I'm not in New York all the time is what I'm
Okay. All right. Is any other comments from the board? Okay. Chair will entertain a motion to impose a fine of $250 per day and also to impose a $250 one-time administrative fee for the BTR against the respondent effective today, November 9th, 2017, and continue until compliance achieved or reaches a maximum of $15,000. Is there such a motion?
Second.
Motion, Mrs. Himes. Second, Mr. Weatherholtz. All in favor say aye. Like sign opposed. Motion carries. All right, case number 26 is in compliance. Case number 27 is in compliance. Case number 28, Warbeck Enterprises, CEB 1017134. Respondent present. Okay, Mr. Jackson, what can you tell us?
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for imposition of a fine. The inspector is Jerry Sanders. Mr. Sanders reports he's had no contact from Warbeck Enterprises. The property remains in noncompliance. He's asking for a $250 a day fine to a maximum of $25,000. Now, turn to Mr. Sanders if you have any questions.
I'm just looking at the pictures. Looks to be on the corner of A1A and Main Street. Is that it? Mm-hmm.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
A1A and Main Street.
Mm-hmm.
Southeast corner.
Southeast
Yeah.
corner.
Oh, okay.
Uh-huh. All right. The chair will entertain a motion to impose a fine of $500 per day against the respondent effective November 9th, 2017, and continue until compliance is achieved or reaches the maximum of $25,000. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion, Mr. Weatherholt, second, Mr. Jones. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. Yeah, let's move on to case number 29, Peter Scheiss, CEB 1017-135. Anyone here for that case? Respondent? All right, this is Mr. Sanders' case.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this respondent both in this case and the next case, and the circumstance is the same. The inspector is Jerry Sanders. He's here for imposition of a fine. Mr. Sanders reports nothing's been done. He's hadn't heard from him, and he's requesting a $250 a day fine to a maximum of $15,000. As to case 1017-135. It will be the same request for the next one as well.
Okay. Any questions?
Yeah, the picture of the church, is that the next one?
No.
Oh. Okay.
Okay. All right. The chair will entertain a motion to impose a fine of $250 per day against the respondent effective November 9th, 2017, and continue until compliance is achieved or reaches the maximum of $15,000. And this is for case number CEB 10-17-135. And it is also for case number 10-17-136.
Madam Chair, the only thing I did not notice that On case number 1017136, there is also the $250 administrative fee.
And further orders on CEB case number 1017136, a motion to impose a $250 one-time administrative fee for the BTR. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Mr. Harrington, second, Mr. Jones. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries.
10:45.
It is 10:45. We will have I'd really like to make it closer to, between 5 and 10 minutes. So I'm going to say 8-minute break before we continue. And if you're here for a case, please come up, and because these are Code Enforcement Board hearing. Please make a note that Mr. Jones has left, but we still have a quorum, so we're going to continue.
Madam Chair, I'm sorry, if I could just have one moment to let our camera inspectors know the order that we're going
Okay,
to
that's absolutely fine. And what we'll do, and what I want to do in the meantime is consider on the last page of the agenda, while you're doing that, we have under miscellaneous business MB1, case number CEB 09-17-104, Nasser and Morella Gadimi at Wild Olive. The respondent is requesting for rehearing or reconsideration of the fine. I will note that this was asked for previously, last month, asked for the same thing, and it was denied by this board. Does anyone on the board want to reconsider this case?
No, I was wondering how it got back on the agenda.
Well, it's here, so we're just going to, and we can take that up.
Well, just so, if I may, just so it's clear, it was put on because, as was noted even in the minutes, I think it was determined that wasn't going to be considered, so even a reconsideration was withdrawn the last time. And so, as an opportunity to be heard, it's a motion to be reconsidered, but as Mr.
I thought the minutes stated that we denied the request for reconsideration.
Brought it up.
It's not a problem. Anyone make a motion to yes or no?
Does anyone want to make?
We do not.
Does anyone want to make a motion to rehear or reconsider? All right, no one wants to make that motion, so we'll make a motion so it dies. That's it. Okay, case over. The ruling stands.
Anybody find any car keys? Anybody? No? Sorry.
Okay.
Can we tell us what's first?
What kind of